is on.
Good evening. This is Charles Carter, and we're going to have the Stunt Hangar video chat this evening. This is Monday, September 7th, 2020. And I'm looking forward to getting together with you guys and talk about model aviation, flying, building, um, crashing, repairing, all aspects, learning new maneuvers. Um, if you learn a new wrinkle, be happy to hear about these new uh, epiphanies or new ideas or things that worked for you. Um, we also have an opportunity for you to join this conversation at stunthangar.com. If you are a Stunthangar forum member, you can come in. All you do is go to the at the bench link, and I'm going to post the link to get into here very shortly. If you're not a member, please join. You can register at stunthangar.com with your real first and last name with a space between the two and the other registration information. And if it takes too long, let me know. I can talk to Sparky. He's the one that actually approves everyone individually. And to support our programming, we really would encourage you to donate. You can do the super chat, which is down below, or we have memberships. We have, I think, 3 tiers of memberships. I'm a member myself. Excuse me. So, anyways, today was Labor Day. I out here in Escondido, California, is where I fly, and I invited some friends out there, and we had about 6 pilots out there, and it was a cooler day. So it was cooler than the temperature. Like Saturday, we had a temperature of 115 degrees, which was a record day for Escondido. So it was nice to be a little bit cooler. I'm not sure what the temperature was. I just know it wasn't 115. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and post the link now, and hopefully have some friends come in and some guests. That'd be great. Here we go. Okay, the link is there at the bench, and you can come on in. And then those of you who are don't want to be in the show or don't want to see your face or anything like that, you can still go on to the YouTube side of the program, and there's a chat box there. You can communicate there your interests, your questions, any comments, any concerns regarding model aviation. Particularly, I'd appreciate that. And you can be part of the show. I keep an eye on that, by the way. So I try to make it an interactive um, conversation between what's going on here live and what's going on the YouTube channel. And my first guest to show up, like clockwork, is Gary. I appreciate that. I remember Gary. I used to do that with Rusty. I used to early on. I remember I came on very early. He used to always tell me, "Hang on, Charles, just a minute," you know. So I appreciate it. Anyways, what you been up to, Gary?
Oh, just working on my outboard motor today.
Outboard motor for
Yeah, my boat.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think we got other problems, so I got see if I can find out, see if I can get it fixed.
yeah. It's kind of expensive too, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what's going to get it have to do here. You
Yeah,
know.
I understand a
So
boat is just a hole in the ocean you pour water into. I
yeah.
mean, excuse me, it's a
Oh,
hole in the ocean you pour money into.
well, I've had it for years, so got it brand new. So,
Oh well, good. Yeah,
but
a
something
friend.
happened. It's
I have a friend out here in Santee that's a outboard mechanic. That's what he does. Oh, we lost your audio.
we did.
Oh, you know what? There's a delay on the YouTube. I was watching that. I have 2 monitors. Hi, Tom. And
Hey, Charles.
and
Hi, Tom.
so That's how I kind
Good.
of keep an eye on what's going on.
Okay.
So what's been going on with you, Tom?
Well, I've been busy trying to get boats winterized, boats and jet skis winterized. It was only, it's right now it's 49 degrees here in Minnesota.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow. You know, we had a record temperature yesterday, Tom, of 115 degrees. Not
Wow.
yesterday, Saturday. 115 is record, record. So it's never been that hot before.
Yeah.
115. Yeah, I've always, people always say that August is the hottest month out here. And I'm always, I believe that September is the hottest month out here. It's just amazing. 115. When I got into my one car, it actually said 125 degrees. Then when I was driving around, I thought it'd go down to 117, but the official record for that day was 115.
Oh.
It's amazing.
How do you do it?
You know what? I'm usually doing stuff, and that stuff's I got to get stuff done. I was actually working in my garage Saturday. Of course, my garage does not have air conditioning, and my garage, I had a thermometer, and it was 100 degrees in there. But it's like if I don't work in there, then I wouldn't have been ready to fly today. I was actually working on some planes and stuff to get them ready to fly today. Hey, what's up? How's it going, Bill?
Oh, not too bad.
Cool. I'm glad you came in. We got some traffic on the chat as well on the YouTube side. There's Gerald. He says hello, Charles, and Stunt Hangar and fans, and he will try to join soon. And Jack Snavely said, "Good evening, Charles. Looking good." Hey, thanks, man. I cut my hair and all that. And Minnesota Mike says, "Charles, do you have Rusty's mail address?" I don't have Rusty's mail address, but I'm sure I would suspect that will be something we can obtain. I know Mike Lonke, he's a regular on our program. He's been in touch with Holly, that's Rusty's wife, and so that's a possibility. Greg, he says, "Hi guys, condolences to the Rusty's family and keep up the good work in his memory." Absolutely, that is something that's very near and dear to me, is to do that, Craig, is to uphold, try to continue what Rusty did. Jeff Riley says, "Hi Mike, I have Rusty's address. I can text it to you." And Minnesota Mike says, "We are 103, and the fire is only 45 miles from me." Minnesota Mike, take care and be safe. I pray for your family and your belongings and all that kind of stuff. Most of all, be safe. And then there we go. I think that's about it. Oh, Todd Stinson. Hi everyone. He's from Oakland. Hey, hi Todd. Welcome. I haven't seen you before. And Terry Forbes says, "Hello, Stunthanger. Sorry to hear about Rusty." Absolutely, Terry. Absolutely. Hey, Gerald.
Hi,
Hi,
Gerald.
Charles.
So I
Hello, everybody.
Say it again.
Oh, I was just saying hello to everybody.
Hello.
Bit of a delay here.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll work with that.
I haven't been able to come in that often because everybody's been stuck at home with the latest lockdown, and they all needed the computer
Yeah.
and bandwidth.
Yeah, actually, I forgot to give my kids a stern warning to limit their access. We need it for the bandwidth. So hopefully they realize that I need it. So if it starts to deviate, I'll go and go talk to them. Tell them only one device. Please don't have your tablet and your phone, at the same time working. So.
Yeah. The main problem is when my wife's at home and she's working from home and having to conduct Jitsi meetings and Zoom meetings and stuff for work, then everybody has to come off the internet.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, she's the one earning most of the money. Anything I do is a sideline.
Right. Hey, Steve.
Hey, man. Hey, Gerald.
But
Hey, guys, I'm going to fix these titles. I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. I meant to do that earlier, but I forgot. So bear with me with all these strange meeting titles. They're bizarre as all get out. So
Tom, you were saying that you started up your snowmobiles and got them ready back and forth to work.
I got starting to winterize the boats, boat and the wave runner.
hey, Peter.
hey,
Yeah, Peter.
Yeah, it's supposed to be cold here. The next few days, ain't supposed to get out of the 50s. So
It's 49 here.
yeah, we get whatever you have a day or so later.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I actually figured out that I'm further north than you and
is on.
Glenn both.
oh no, yeah, I know you were with me, but I didn't realize you were further north than Glenn. But yeah, that's right. He just lives across from Detroit. He's about the same as I am. He may be a little bit lower, a little further south. But yeah, you're up there by the Arctic Circle.
Yeah, did you hear my comment earlier, Steve, that it was 115 here Saturday?
Yeah. I can't believe that. That's just crazy. I know. I swear to God, though, it's never been hotter in the summer than this year in Michigan. I mean, I got my first electric bill, or that was over $145. How about shit my pants?
Oh, there goes the jar again.
Yeah, I know it. But yeah, I mean, I had them up in the 90, and then in July it was 101, and I thought over 100. Yeah, and then the bill from the middle of July to the middle of August was $145. And I'm like, this has got to end.
Not to interrupt, but has there been a moment of silence for Rusty yet?
I believe that Friday night, off the channel, I think, I'm just assuming they did, Mike Lonkey, and they all were talking about it. Was you on, Steve? Can you?
I got off before they got here.
Okay, I was out there too.
Yeah,
but I'm not against doing that. If you guys want to take a moment of silence, we can definitely do that. It'd be great to do something like that for a referee.
Yeah, I'm hoping Holly gets on tonight. Sparky said in his video, I was watching that build video, a little bit of it, that she may get on tonight and talk with us. But
wow, I'm sorry. Just reading Minnesota Mike. He says his average bill in the summer is $450.
Wow.
No. Where does he live?
On the sun.
Yeah.
Nashville.
Minnesota Mike, refresh your memory. Where do you live? I know you're up north of me, but I don't remember where you live exactly. So you'll probably comment in a moment. And here's a new guy, Wilfred. He says, hi to everyone watching from Guyana. All right.
Oh, we're no kidding.
Hey, anybody on the YouTube, come on in. If you're a member, it'd be easy. Just find the at the bench link, like that's what everybody else has done, and come on into the conversation. It'd be great.
I was hoping that Sparky would come on and talk about how he got started with Rusty and how he got Rusty hosting these video chats and talk about some of that.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how he did.
I know. I posted the question to him one of the weekend shows he had, and he said he just asked him, but I was hoping he'd go into a little more detail than that.
Yeah, it sure was a good choice. I mean, Rusty, I appreciate his humor, his wit. That's what he's so funny. He has the expressions. And I wish I would have noted them all down, but over the years, some of them are just so funny.
Yeah,
He was a brilliant host.
Because Sparky actually started doing them, and then Rusty was helping out somehow, and then he took over.
Yeah, I just remember him. I remember Sparky just not feeling that he could pull the people like Rusty could, And Sparky's thing was building. Most of his videos were all building, not so much this video chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
So
was a
how'd you do
brilliant
with the
host.
contest, Bob?
Huh?
Yeah.
What's that?
How'd you do with the contest?
I won.
Yeah.
I won the Schaefer Memorial Cup, and I won a Playboy kit in the raffle. I pretty much took home the whole field that day,
Sounds
But
good.
the biggest thrill for me was getting the airplane working better than it's ever worked before, and it was like pulling teeth for a while there. But man, I got it working really, really well, and I'm really happy. Matter of fact, I hung it up on the wall, and it's going to stay there now until next year. It's a good backup for next year, and I'll start the season with it, maybe, until my twins are done.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
You're not playing at your own contest this year?
Yeah, that contest we had to cancel it. The executive council said all club functions are canceled this year. So,
Oh, damn.
unfortunate, but that's how it is.
I guess.
Hey, Peter, is Peter there? Peter Nevin?
Yeah, he was here.
Is he there?
Yeah.
Are you on there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. I was at our old stomping grounds out of Flushing, and
Right.
I felt Gene on my shoulder all 3 flights. I was talking to Gene. I actually literally was talking to Gene all 3 flights. But you'd appreciate that.
Oh yeah, I certainly can, especially if it's the paved circle that's closest to the one that's closest to the entry by the fence line.
Yeah, this one's closest to the Van Wyck. The other circle,
Yep.
the other circle is unflyable now.
No, but that was the favorite circle. I
Yeah.
do recall. Of course, it was closest to closest to the car at the gate on that side.
Yeah.
Do they still have a pretty good club there in Flushing or not?
Yeah, they got Will and Joe.
They had 2 people, huh?
And unfortunately, Joe crashed his airplane. Well, he didn't crash it. He had his own turbulence, and the airplane knife edged in and totaled. That's 3 airplanes this year for him. We're going to call him Jim Casal Jr.
Oh, no.
I think Jimmy's record was 7 in 1 year. So I think he's got a ways to go here.
So there's without a decent club there in Flushing and stuff, there's probably not a chance to get the other circle fixed and all that.
No, there's not a chance they're ever going to get any more out of the city. But the saving grace is that the drone flyers and the little ARF flyers, RC flyers, come in and use the grass portion of the field, and they seem to be coexisting very well. When they're flying control line, the drone guys and the RC guys stay away from them, and consequently, it looks like the field is being used more than it really is, and at least they get to stay there for a while. I mean, that's a great piece of real estate in New York City, so.
Is it at like Central Park or where?
No, it's Flushing Meadows. It's out where the World's Fair was. It's between the Grand Central Parkway and the Van Wyck Expressway, just east of LaGuardia Airport, and east of where the World's Fair was.
Yeah, 1964 World's Fairgrounds.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I went to the World's Fair.
Yeah, me too. I went to that one. And my dad worked in New York at the time, and he would drop me off at a subway station or L station, and I would go at 12 or 13 years of age by myself to the World's Fair, and then meet him back at that station in the evening. Now, could you do that? I don't know.
Well, I thought you'd probably going to say that your dad dropped you off at that subway station. He told his friends he can't believe you find your way back all the time.
Yeah. Pretty true.
Hey, Mike, he replied that he lives in Clovis, California.
Where the Golden State used to be.
Where's Clovis? Is that by LA or down by you or
area?
That's must be near Madera, obviously, because Madera is where the Golden State Championships are at.
Yeah.
So I think it's close to that. I probably pass it when I go to Golden State.
Yeah. I was there with Phil one year. I stayed with Phil for a weekend, and we went down to the Golden State in Clovis. It was a really nice field.
Yeah, we used to have Madera. Then Madera is a municipal airport that's not being used, and it's new asphalt. It's immaculate, and it's like no more than 5 minutes away from the hotel, the host hotel, and it's like runway air. I mean, it's clean of any trees and that kind of stuff, so it's really good air. Hey, Mike.
All right.
Yeah, it's like when I was there, a buddy of mine, he was born and stuff and lived in Palm Springs till he was like 10, 11 years old. And I'm thinking Palm Springs, there'd be water bubbling up out of the ground and stuff like that. We end up going through Palm Springs. And I'm like, well, bitch, this is nothing but desert. Hotter than hell. And I'm like, well, it had nothing to do with springs there, I tell you that. Didn't have palm trees.
Maybe it changed. You know, the Sahara Desert in Africa wasn't always barren. It was plush at one time. So maybe Palm Springs was plush at one time.
Yeah, maybe.
Tom, did I hear you say you're winterizing boats already up there? Good God, where do you live, man?
Minnesota, and it's 49 degrees tonight.
Wow.
I was going to tell you, Mike, you're coming this weekend. You're lucky. We're supposed to have a warm-up up till Friday. It's only supposed to be in the 50s.
Oh, good God. I was drinking a beer on my pontoon yesterday, and it was 91 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah, it's supposed to be back up to 70 Saturday, but I bet you it'll be cold in the morning. Bring some jackets.
All right. They don't move too fast out there in Detroit. So I got there last year. Sam and I got there at like 7:00 in the morning, got out some stuff and started test flying, and like nobody showed up till 9. It was like, are we having a contest today or what? They're like, yeah, we'll get it started. We don't have a whole lot of guys. We just take our time, and there'll be even less this year because of the Canadians won't be coming over because the border's still shut down. So they get a pretty big combat contingent from the Windsor guys, the Beanfield guys, but they're not going to be there. So I don't even think they'll fly F2D on Sunday. They probably won't have enough people. I think we're probably going to do it all on Saturday. We'll fly half A, fast, speed limit, and slow. We'll fly 4 events. And I think I talked to Ronnie. Sounds like we're going to have maybe 7 guys, and that includes me and Sam. So it should run pretty fast, but we'll be flying everything. You know, we'll get it all done in one day. So
well, that'll be good for you guys coming back home on Sunday then. Get to leave out a little earlier and get back home at a decent time.
Yeah. I'll take Mom to dinner Saturday night, and then we'll get up early Sunday morning and hit the road and come back to Nashville. So we're looking forward to it. Should be a fun day.
So Clovis is near Fresno. Thanks, Jeff Riley, for letting me know.
Clovis, I've been through there.
Oh, it's by Fresno?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can't believe a $400 a month electric bill for air conditioning. Jeez.
Mine's $300.
Yours is 300.
My electric bill's 300 during the summer. Yeah.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm. Of course, I got 3 people in this house that don't know how to turn a light off. They don't know how the switch works. So, you know,
Since I started flying electric, it's got up $100 a month.
it's gone up 100. Yeah. But you know, my heating bill is only. Oh man, I pre-bought $1,000 worth of propane last year, and I didn't even use half of it. I think my heating bill for the winter was about $475. I still got a better than $500 credit with my propane company because I burn.
Mild winter.
I burn in my fireplace too, all from like October 1st to March 31st. I've got a fire going every day. If we're home, there's a fire in the fireplace, so that really helps cut the cost down. So.
Use up those crash combat ships as kindling? Is that what you do?
I got to go get firewood for the winter, and I think we'll still get 2 or 3 more outings on the boat before I got to shut it down. We should be able to get through September and maybe a week in October before I got to put it away. So.
Yes, my uncle was telling me today that he goes, "It's nice down here." He goes, "It's only about 90." And I'm like, holy shit, I hate the 90-degree days. He goes, we've had 100 and as high as 105 down there in Florida. And I'm like, that's too hot for me.
Well, I hope it's nice for the King Orange in October because we're going to be going down for that one. We're going to salvage as much of the contest here as we can. We're going to hit Detroit next week, and then Zachary, Louisiana, Baton Rouge contest, and King Orange. So 3 more stunt contests and 1 combat contest.
Yeah, you should be in the 70s down there in Florida. At that time, it should be beautiful weather down there. Not too hot, not too cold.
Sounds nice. Charles, are you affected by the fires in California, or is Jeff affected?
They're a little bit away from me. I don't really feel in any particular danger. I do have some friends that are it's getting pretty close to where they're at. There's one that's a little bit southeast of me. There was an evacuation notice of one out here, but it's not affecting the air quality of where I'm at. And
good to hear.
I'm just praying to continue to stay away. I also hope other people can be safe and don't lose any property.
I heard one of those fires was sparked by a gender reveal party. One of those deals where they do pink or blue, and it was a smoke canister, and it started a fire.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, I don't know which fires are where and which one was started, but they said one of them was caused by a gender reveal party, and that the husband and wife could be held accountable for it because they started it. They go after people that start them, even if it's an accident.
Yeah,
I don't know what they do. They go after their insurance company or something, but I'm not sure. Hey, Mr. Whiteley, what's up there, buddy?
Hey, I just figured I had to come on tonight, make the time, so I canceled my flying. And memory of Rusty, we got to be here for him.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So
it's cold,
hearing
miserable up here this weekend anyway. They've even had snow in some of the areas in the province today.
Wow.
Yeah, they said that
feels like
Colorado
October normally does.
Did anybody fly today? I flew today. I had like 6 pilots. I was one of the 6 pilots today, and we had beautiful flying weather today. I flew some stunt and I flew some combat.
We're going tomorrow when Sam gets out of school. We didn't manage to get out Friday, and we were going to go today, but we just kind of all had a lazy day here at the house. So as soon as Sam gets off the bus tomorrow, I'm going to have some stuff ready. We're going to go test some speed limit stuff. And then I got to work on some half A stuff, and we'll probably go do that Wednesday or Thursday. No stunt. We'll worry about stunt after we get back from Detroit.
Yeah, I was supposed to go test fly a home-built airplane today, but Zen Air stole 701. But with the winds that we had and the gusting, there's no damn.
And you meant full scale, right? When you said home
full
built?
Scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of beginner observations. I broke the propeller on my Stuntman with electric, and I had bought some different APC props, of varying pitches, but all around, the general area. And I just couldn't believe when you don't have the right pitch in that, what a difference. You can barely get off the ground. And if you have the right, pitch, you can do loops easy, but it just makes a world of difference getting that propeller dialed in when it's marginal to start with.
Yep.
And Denny and I did a big trader prop thing at the Nationals.
Yeah, he got more blades than I did.
I figured with all those fancy 12.5 props, rev ups I got from you, Mike, I better get another airplane for him for next year too. So I ordered another SV to go with the other 56.
There you go. Very good. Very good. Yep. There's no more, man. They're all gone. I sold 440 of those props, and I kept 60 for myself.
Damn.
Wow. So I guess I've got 31. It's the 30 from you. I found one in my stash.
There you go. Yep.
Very good.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill, I have a on my YouTube channel called Flying Control Line Stunt. There's a 2-hour dissertation by Wendy Ornowski on propellers. It's mostly for glow, but I would suspect that there's still some benefit in you watching that video. He does a really good job explaining props and repitching, Phillips entry, all kinds of things about props. So it's a really good video.
Speaking of props, I got my email from Brian Ether. I got 9 of his 3-bladed carbon fiber props on the way. Got him all paid up, and so I bought 3 for the 75s, 3 for the 61s, and 3 for the 65s. So that should between those and the ones I got from Wayne Smith, I ought to be in good shape for PA props for a while.
Yeah.
I still wouldn't turn any down though. If I saw some for sale, I'd jump on them.
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, balancing those rev ups.
Share something with you.
They're damn near as balanced out of the package compared to a bunch of others that I did. I did a marathon of about 40 props the other day to balance them, and I hardly had to do anything to most of my rev ups. But some of the other brands, holy shit, that they need a lot of build up.
What were we gonna say, Denny?
Just going to say, the Detroit contest last month, Ed Breezy showed up.
Oh, did he?
And for whatever reason, he didn't have a fuel tank or had tank problems or something like that. He flew his stunt plane with a pen bladder.
Wow.
That T-Rex that he got, right?
Yeah, the T-Rex. He flew it with a pen bladder. It's got a Tiger 51 in it, I guess, and the thing ran perfect, of course. I just thought you'd get a kick out of hearing that because you've talked about running pen bladders on everything.
Oh, yeah.
And it seemed to fit right in.
Probably about a 2.5 pitch prop, right?
I'm sorry?
Probably about a 2.5 pitch prop.
Yeah,
maybe. He wasn't running it hard or anything like that. He was running a fast or soft 2-cycle, wet 2-cycle, whatever. But the thing just ran absolutely dead steady, of course, because that's what bladders do, right? So.
Yeah, he's I'll tell you, it'll make you sick when you find out what he got that airplane for. That was all part of
yeah, I was there when he bought it. Yeah, I know. So
that was all part of Roland stuff. Roland, what is his last name? Roland Trevino. He flew with Alan Brickhouse and Byron Barker and all that. He's a Nashville guy, older, having some health problems. So he was trying to sell off all his stuff, and Mike Stinson just bought it all in one big lot. He bought everything Roland had, and then was, you know, eBaying some, putting some on the forums, and then he brought a bunch to the Nats to sell. And I think it was the last day, and he just didn't want to take the airplane home in that nice T-Rex ARF with a Super Tiger 51. And hell, if I'd have known it was going to go as cheap as it went, I would have offered Mike that money for it. But I'm happy. I'm glad to see that Breezy got him a stunt plane, and he's out there flying stunt. That's cool. How did he end up? Was he flying beginner or intermediate, or
he was flying beginner, and I think he was by himself. But
Okay.
it was actually interesting just to see. You know, obviously Ed's been flying for 100 years and all that kind of stuff. And he started trimming things out and reaching his pocket. He's grabbing for the quarters because he needed more tail weight and stuff like that. And it came time, come show time and stuff like that, he flew just fine. You know, like I said, the motor ran great. The biggest problem with the motor run is that he had the bladder time to work for the beginner pattern. Basically, he finished the pattern, ran a half dozen laps, and shut off.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so for a full pattern, he's going to need to fill it more. That's about all. But
good for him.
I really didn't pursue it with him, just why he was doing that and not running a fuel tank or something like that. But there's no arguing with success. So.
Well, geez, there we go. I might have to try some bladders on my PAs, man, and just for the test, just to see.
Well, that's what I knew. I knew if I just planted the seed with you, you darn thing's going to be having, you're going to have bladders in it before long. So.
Hey, Dennis, did you happen to see how he contained the pin bladder?
You mean, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure how he did it. I know the first couple of flights, he came out like the day before, and he had the bladder like basically caged outside the fuselage, all right, under the wing. It was just basically hanging in the breeze. He had like a little cage around it. And I think he had it internal on the second day, so I'm not sure exactly how he did it. But I would guess if you did something like put an 8-ounce bottle inside, where the fuel tank would normally be, and fill it up.
You know how Breezy. This is how Breezy runs his bladders on all of his combat planes.
Let me
outside the wing, right there, with a
You
rubber.
can tie him down.
He ties the back end down, and he runs them outside the wing. So this is all inflated, exposed outside the wing. Every airplane he owns is like that. He doesn't put it in a bladder tube inside the wing. He runs it outside and ties it down with a rubber band. That's
okay.
Yeah. He's kind of his own mad scientist kind of guy, man. He does pretty wacky stuff, but
That's
he's
interesting.
successful with it.
Hey, thanks, Mike.
So I flew my Buster with the OS Max 35 in it, and now it's really broke in, and golly, it runs good. Just perfect. You just set the needle and it stays, and I'm happy.
Well, it's 35 too.
Did you guys see that post from Kevin King on that Spitfire he did?
Pretty, isn't it?
Beautiful. Beautiful.
He was out. He drove all the way out from Winnipeg with his family for a contest last month, and he maneuvers. But in that, he was doing pretty good. But that plane is drop dead gorgeous. He built it about 20 years ago, and the airbrush work on it, everything is just phenomenal. And Chris Cox had his new MiG out there too. He came up from Vancouver. We have pretty good turnout, actually, of really good flyers.
Did he have the retract working?
No, he's got them just running fixed right now. He's having problems with the retraction cycle. That at certain phases of flight or speeds, it was figured it was putting too much load on the gear door covers, and interfering with the retraction or the extension. So he's just running them fixed for now.
He told me that it was extending and retracting several times during the flight for no reason at all.
Okay, he didn't talk about that. He was just saying how it either wouldn't retract or wouldn't extend, one leg or the other.
No. Yeah, I told them about a whole different setup. Get rid of those E-flights. They're toys. They're not real retract.
beautiful plane to see flying. And another one was the Sea Fury there. It's not Al Raby's, it's an original design. And anyway, that was absolutely stunning in flight. But the tragedy is so old Al Raby Mustang had a flap separate. It looked like the trailing edge actually kind of separated there. You know, Al does that two-piece construction for the boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Looked like it split apart and some of the hinges were letting go and the flap flipped up. I think he was at the top of the triangles.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, it just thundered straight in, just destroyed.
The lucky box came apart.
It looked like not the lucky box itself, but the you know how he has those little boxes to hold the hinges, the plate hinges in the trailing edge.
Oh, okay.
And the trailing edge of the wing is laser cut two pieces that sandwich together to form the slot for the box. Anyway, it looked like there was some separation on that trailing edge piece.
Wow.
So when I do my Sea Fury up, I'll definitely keep that in mind for possible reinforcement. Although it had, you know, God knows how many flights on. But all in all, we had great weather, aside from dodging wind, you know, and we just stopped in the meantime and come back, and everyone got all the flying in. We finished a bit early and on the Sunday, and it was a great time.
Quick question for Mike. Just wondering, with your bladder tubing, can you get bladder tubing that's not 5 or 6 but bigger diameter, or like that's like 1/4 inch tubing? Can you get a bigger diameter tubing if you wanted to run a stunt tank, you know, a stunt bladder? Or is that pretty much what we
Yes, you can. And I mean, I don't know how big you want to go, but this is the bladder tube I made up for the pulse jet to hold. Oh, I don't know. This one will hold about 24 ounces of fuel. But this is so typically what I buy is from Phil Cartier. You know, it's the 1/4 inch stuff. I don't know what the wall thickness is, honestly, to be off the top of my head. But McMaster Carr sells a gazillion different sizes of latex bladder tubing you can get from McMaster Carr. So I guess it would just take some experimentation to figure out how much you would need for a stunt plane. Now I do know that when this is expanded all the way to 1/4 inch, I use the 1 3/4 light bulb covers, the clear plastic ones that you can buy for the fluorescent lights. That's what I use as a bladder compartment. And this barely touches the 1 3/4 diameters, because you don't want to cram it in a smaller tube, because then you're going to get false pressure on it. You'll have false pressure if it's mushed up against the compartment. So this is 1 inch and just shy of 3/4 when it's inflated. And if you run a piece about that big, you can get 4 ounces in it. And of course, it'll end up being about that long with 4 ounces of fuel. It'll end up being 6 inches long with 4 ounces of fuel. So I guess if you were putting it in a stunner, you would want a bigger diameter, because you're not going to, usually you don't have more than 6, 7 inches in a tank compartment for a stunner. So you'd have to figure out how big or how much bigger you need to go to get your 6, 7 ounces, depending on what kind of engine you're running. But McMaster Carr has a gazillion different sizes of stuff. And I bought this stuff because that's what Bruce Tharp, the guy who started running pulse jets on a bladder, this is his setup. So it's just a Home Depot plastic cap, not plastic, copper cap from the plumbing section. And then the other one is the same. I don't know if I can get that off, but I drilled a hole in it and then soldered a piece of brass tubing in there. And then it's tied up with string. And this is made to fit in a 1 liter Aquafina bottle. That's what he uses as a compartment in his RC pulse jets. So you get the big 1 liter Aquafina bottle, and then this fills that up. So it's, like, well, a liter's a little more than a quart, isn't it? So that's 30. Yeah, 30 ounces of fuel.
Yeah, very cool.
I've kind of stalled on that project there,
That's
but
quite amazing.
it's still on the back burner. Someday I'll be running a pulse jet on a bladder. But I would just look at McMaster car.
Sounds.
Or do you have anything similar in Australia to McMaster car?
New Zealand. I'll have a look around. Otherwise, I might be able to get it through a shipping agent. I use Zachary, a shipping agent in New Hampshire, and I can probably ship it from McMaster car to my shipping agent, and then ship it out to New Zealand from there.
The problem is
that might work okay.
The problem is it may take 2 days to get there from here. Because usually when we hit the send button on our computer to McMaster car, we have to run and get the door because they're ringing the doorbell to deliver it. That's
I'm telling you what, Bob, you're not lying about that. Your stuff is there the
next day. So it'll probably take 2 days to New Zealand.
Next day, man.
Where is McMaster car at? In Illinois?
There's several of them.
Oh, okay.
Warehouses. We have one here in South Jersey. Right over the line here.
Sounds good. It sounds.
But if you hit the
sounds like there's a lot of potential there to try it.
You type everything in, hit the send button, then run to the door to get it. You know, so that would be
pretty good.
I ordered some stainless steel stuff for a boat, and I got one day and one the other. I didn't check to see where maybe they shipped them from 2 different spots in the United States, but I couldn't understand why I got one, it's just a small box. I got one, and then the next day I got the other one. Got the bolts and I got the nuts.
Hey, Gerald, I would say, too, if you're going to experiment with bladders on a stunt engine, make sure you got at least, the very least, a Tiger needle on it, because most of the needle valves are too coarse, and they'll just leak like a sieve. But a Tiger has a fine thread needle on it. So just be aware of that. Like if you're trying to use a stock OS needle or a stock Enya needle or Fox needle, they won't handle the pressure. They'll just leak all over the place.
And it's
so that's probably. Go ahead, Bob.
It's going to run at 1 speed. It's not going to have a 2/4 brake.
Right. Correct.
Well, maybe tried to do it years ago. He tried to put a pump in there. He thought a pump would work, but it didn't because when he turned a corner, he had no power. It didn't have the boost of power going up, and it would just run steady, but it wouldn't give you the boost of power you needed, like a 2/4 brake, and the pen bladder won't either. So if you want to run at one constant speed and a flatter pitch, higher RPM setup, that's viable, but you won't be getting a 2/4 brake.
Mm-hmm.
No. Yeah, I understand that. It would be fun on a high-speed stunter, like a flight streak stunter, where you want it to go fast. You just doing it more for the sport stunt than a professional style stunt run. And I found that those OS needle valve assemblies work quite well. The LA style one.
Oh, really?
That worked quite well with the bladder.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's got the O-ring on it. And
I gave up on those.
I see. Yeah, there's probably better stuff out there, but compared to the standard OS one that was in that setup that I had before, I just had a standard RC one. It was leaking way too much fuel out the threads, and that one seemed to solve the trick. It stopped it leaking, and I managed to get a setting, so I was happy with that.
Gerald, too bad you don't live here, Gerald. I got about 30 of those needle valves I'd give you. Because they come off of every OS engine I get, and they go in a little box.
Yeah. You know, I'm quite happy to try anything. And being in New Zealand, you're prepared to give anything a go and see if it works.
Sure.
Because the delay in getting a better part can be so long that you'll try whatever's around before you wait weeks for it to come in.
Well, I think that's probably why Creed was successful with his Super Tiger engine running it on a bladder, because the Tiger needles are good. That's one of the ones we used to take and make a remote needle for. And some guys just run them right into the Venturi, and they work fine on pressure.
Yeah,
What's up,
I managed to get them Yaroslav.
Yeah, in the chat, Minnesota Mike is saying the fire's about 40 miles away from him. That's kind of scary. And the smoke, he said the smoke is really bad there. That's the Mike I'm talking about. Hey, Tryon, you just sneaked in, huh?
Yeah, I just came in.
Welcome.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, guys, I got something to show and tell.
All right. On you, Dennis. Second.
See, how do you recognize this? This is a 50-year-old airplane. There's actually the Chester's Best Finish Award winner at the 1970 Nationals. Wow. Leroy Gunther from Detroit area. And we lost him about 15 or so years ago. The airplane ended up at my dad's house, me and my at my house. And so I'm in the process of trying to get the thing restored is too strong a word. I'm trying to recapture it where it's got some cracks in it and stuff like that. I'm trying to seal over and stuff. But the reason I brought the airplane was obviously beautiful and it was built and everything like that. That's a lot of issues with sitting it's had a lot of issues with control system and whatever. I've been trying to fix things. I'm going to keep plugging along on it, and I think I can get it airborne. One of the things I wanted to show you was, all right. All right.
Gunther.
Yeah.
Right, Denny?
I'm sorry?
Oh, Boom Boom Gunther.
I'll pull it out here in a second.
That was his nickname, right?
This is actually a 25 XX.
You're locked up.
He was moving too fast.
You guys noticed the sheen off that wing? Thing had a shiny finish. It was
beautiful.
Yeah, and it certainly was still really
What was the model of that airplane?
Nobler.
The Nobler.
Was that
he had a Spitfire too that was just immaculate. His nickname was Boom Boom Gunther, and he was one of the best builders around. He had an airplane called the Galaxy in '69, and then he had another airplane. I think it was in '68 or maybe it was '70. He had a Spitfire that was absolutely gorgeous. Great builder.
Hey, Charles.
Yes. Hey, yes.
Hey, here's the engine I'm gonna put on that P40. I got it on eBay. So.
Oh, nice.
46. But look in there.
Oh, that's huge.
That's it doesn't look like it's been run at all.
No, not at all. Doesn't look like it at all.
This thing's nice. I paid $88 for it.
That's a good price too.
Very, very nice.
Good. Yeah.
You might want to see if you can get a Venturi out of a LA-25. It'll might run a little better. That Venturi looks too big.
Let me see. Here's a 25.
That's what I normally do. I use the 25 Venturi. They work well.
Can you just buy 25 Venturi?
I mean, they look just about the same.
They do.
25s are just a little bit smaller.
Yeah, try a index of drill bits and see if you can see if they're the same size. They might be different.
The 40 and 46 come with a 280, and the 25s come with a 250, plus or minus a couple thou.
Let me see. I got my calipers here.
If you really want to make,
Brodeck have got the 25 Venturis and Omni models.
if you really want to make a 25 zoom on a combat plane, you put the 40-46 Venturi in it. You put the 280 in it on a bladder, and that thing will scream.
They can't get up in there.
What'd you say a 46 has?
Should be around 280. Could be 278 to 285, somewhere in there.
Yeah, that's one of the great things.
Best I could come up with this is 260. On
a drill index, you might be a little bit more accurate that way.
This is the 25. I can't even get my.
Yeah, you need to measure it from the other end. It's got to be out so that you can measure it. But
my calipers aren't long enough to get down in there.
But I mean, I've been using those Venturis and putting them in motors for years. So, you know, they're close.
Got good compression though.
But LA's are good motors. I mean, I don't have one I ever been disappointed with. They're really nice motors.
You know, that's the second 46 I've got, and I've got 3 40s and 125.
Those are rookie numbers, Eddie.
I know. I'm a rookie. I'm an old fart rookie. It was 24 years before I started flying with you, Mike, in 2009. And I flew for a couple of years with y'all, and I've flown maybe 3 or 4 times since then. So,
yeah.
And if it goes around in a circle, I'm happy. As long as I get to fly, I don't care.
Absolutely. I get to fly. I don't care. That's left fly.
There we go.
I was going to try to fly this weekend, but I had so much stuff going on, I couldn't get the planes out, see if they'd even run.
All right, Dennis, let's see that thing.
Yeah, this is part of the reason I haven't been here. I've been having nothing but grief with my my Wi-Fi. My PC is toast. Anyhow, that's just a 3D plastic mount that carries the motor. Since it's only 1.25 inches, it fits between the 1.25 inch motor mounts. So you can literally, and this bolt pattern and everything like that, locates the motor the same as if it was an OS-35. So you literally bolt that onto the mount, install a prop adapter and everything like that, and it's the same as an OS-35, except it's only about 7/8 of an inch tall that way. And so I'm going to be able to make this conversion on this Nobler with virtually, pretty painless motor mount installation compared to what you normally go through when you try to convert a gas to electric. Usually a real pain in the patootie. But actually, the airframe is about the right size. I wanted to test some small frame motors, and the airplane is the right size, and it's actually a pretty good weight, so it should be a pretty good test for it. And so,
what motor is that?
Lately, I'm within a day or two probably having it ready. I got a battery platform for it, and I got to figure out how to put my arming switch on-off switch in it. I'm basically good to go.
So you got enough room for the battery in the fuel compartment, in the tank compartment?
I got the batteries actually. I got into a little bit of trouble. The airplane is tail heavy, and the tank compartment is wide open, lots of room in it. But I have to mount the battery. Actually, it'll be overhanging or underhanging the motor. I have to get the battery that far forward to get the balance. So I've had to do a lot of hacking and grinding on the cowl and stuff like that. But I think it's going to work out, although it looks like the airplane might still be a little tail heavy. It also has a really, really, really fast controls, which I don't like. I don't know what he was thinking when he built it, but frankly, I'm hoping I can contain it with just a narrow handle spacing and all that. But I could very well end up flying this thing once or twice and say, that's enough, But we'll see, one problem at a time.
It looks pretty good, Denny.
Yeah, it's fun to be able to take it like that and reconnect with it and all that. This airplane, it was the last airplane we built actually, and it was we built it fairly quickly and stuff. The numbers on it, if you will, the wing
And the moments and everything like that are actually the same as my my Typhoon that I won the Nats back in '69. And the styling was the Gieske Nobler, of course, the original butcher paper pencil drawing that Bob Gieske used to pass out to people. And so the wing, instead of being a Nobler airfoil traced with a fat ballpoint pen, it's a different airfoil in it. About the same size, actually just a hair, I'm not sure, a hair smaller, I think, in the stock movement. And I don't know, just kind of resurrecting the old bird, and maybe it works, maybe it won't. The thing, nastiest thing to deal with, I don't know if you can see it or not, the planking had a couple of places where it split. It's fully sheeted wing and the balsa split, and 3 out of 4 panels, and it was a real bear trying to get everything to settle back in and everything like that. If this was a real serious competition bird or something like that, I wouldn't be terribly happy with what I've got. But I've got enough. I think it's not going to fall apart or anything like that.
Now,
Yeah, the original airplane is fully sheeted. It was covered with Jap tissue under it. So it's a real surprise to me that the thing with the little cracks. This airplane only had maybe a dozen flights on it when it was new. It was put back in the basement and was spent the next 49, and 3/4 years sitting in a basement. So I don't know why it would have developed cracks. It was done with Aerogloss clear coats for sure.
Yeah.
Aerogloss colors. So that may have something to do with it. Aerogloss is famous for a little bit harder finish than most dope finishes, and that's why you could really work up a good shine on it, work a good finish. But over time, that hardness I think led to cracking and stuff like that. Or
what's it going to weigh out at? Did you figure?
Well, with the OS 35, it originally weighed in at 40 ounces. And I'm anticipating it's going to be probably mid-40s or so with the battery and all that kind of stuff. That's just the swag. I will know in about a day or so. I'll have the thing ready. I'll have it sitting on the scale. But I don't know. It's a little time waster, I guess.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
After you fix it, I'll give you my address.
Which address? Send it to me. You can haul it. You can have it. All right. Airplane sale. Unfortunately, I'm not rough enough on airplanes like Bob was talking about with you need to sell. I'm not that smart, so I just stack them up here. I have 19 airplanes in my area that has room to store about 10, and so I need to get rid of a bunch. So anyway,
Hey, that'll be nice. That'll be cool.
That's all.
Hey Dennis, are those flaps full span or not?
Yeah. Not quite. What you see on there is like a 1/2 inch wide at the tip, and it ends basically at the wingtip.
Okay.
So,
I can tell the color
maybe a little hard to really see. This is a hinge system that my dad worked on. Basically, if you can imagine, that's actually an 8-inch plywood with a piece of 16 wire, running into it. Imagine a combat stabulator. When that works out, you get a piece of plywood with the wire that goes into the stabulator. Each of these hinges looks like that. And the beauty of it is that they're indestructible. The not so beauty of it was that they were kind of a pain in the butt. And then he did something that really bugged me. I don't know why. Probably because he was trying to make it so he could finish it really. Everything was glued on before it was painted. And he's got very, very large gaps in the control system, which wasn't something you have to do. But the gaps are on the order of, between 16 to 3/32 of an inch wide, and it's just. And I'm looking at that, and all I can see is I'm going to run out of tape trying to seal these things. but that, it's just one more thing that it, wouldn't have done in 1970, 71, but wouldn't. I'm not going to leave home without it now. So.
Hey, Denny, whatever happened to Boom Boom's Galaxy and his Spitfire?
The Spitfire was still around, and we actually donated it to a Montessori school in Windsor. My Typhoon and his Spitfire went there. That was two of the things that we were able to get rid of from my dad's house. The Galaxy was crashed.
Oh wow!
But there's no. Got a lot of pictures of it, and got it. In my mind, I think I know how it was built. I'd love to do a set of plans for it, but it would be a dead reckoning set of plans, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it would be representative. It would be realistic. I couldn't look you in the eye and tell you that it was, that it was accurate.
I took a bunch of pictures of that at the '69 Nationals. I was really in love with that airplane.
Yeah, that was a really neat airplane. It was one of my favorites. One of the ones that I wish I could.
Very good.
Yeah, he built a lot of. He was a really good builder. He never really developed much as a flyer or anything like that. After he quit flying airplanes, he started building N-gauge trains, and he used to hand build. Of course, he hand built things like this wooden trestle bridge and his layout, stuff like that, like a gazillion pieces on it. But he really enjoyed doing stuff like that. So, and of course, you didn't have to worry about flying it.
Another guy from that area who was an excellent builder, but not the world's greatest flyer, was Bambrick, right? Don Bambrick?
Yeah.
He's
But
great.
that was actually, I believe he was fifth in. He actually, maybe not fifth. He was definitely a first pager in 1965.
Really?
He was. It surprised me because I didn't realize that at the time. But yeah, he was a better flyer than Penny, but yeah, fantastic builder too. So
He had that Sonic at the '69 Nationals. That was really a pretty airplane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the ultrasonic. That one's in
the ultrasonic, right?
Yeah. It's been. It was exposed. It wasn't burned, but it was in a room that was. It was in a. It wasn't burned, but it got stained horribly.
Oh man.
It's back here, and my goal with that is I am going to create plans for that, and make sure it's documented. And unfortunately, with that, it's in bad enough shape that'll be that, But yeah, he was a fantastic. He was the guy who got 38 appearance points at the '66 match with his Fury that was published in Flying Models, I think it was.
With the Fury?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one where he had a Navy pilot, one of the officers come by, pointed inside the cockpit, says you put the throttle quadrant on the wrong side.
And it had wing fences on it too.
It had wing fences on it. Yep. Somebody else I know has been messing with them. So.
Yeah. Who might that be, huh?
That's it. All right. So I'll go back and be quiet now for a while. What else is going on, folks?
Yeah, I like those hinge points on that Nobler. Even though you had the big gap, they still are pretty nice looking.
Speaking of Noblers, anybody know where you can get a cowl for a Nobler ARF?
Good luck.
Yeah, I can't find them anywhere.
I think it's in your balsa stash.
Now I guess I'm gonna have to make one.
Yeah,
It's what I had to do.
I think your only chance on something like that is just go almost door to door anytime you come across somebody in a hobby shop. Did you post something on Stunthangar? Maybe somebody's got one or knows of one in a local shop or something.
I haven't yet, no.
I mean,
I bought
the
plane already built. The guy, it's been crashed. I've stripped half of it down, checking for tracks and brakes and stuff on it, but it didn't have a cowl on it. But I guess I'm gonna have to fabricate one.
We're talking about an ARF, right, Ed?
Yeah, it looks like an ARF to me.
Get your brother to 3D print one there for him, Denny.
Yeah. You talk him into making the model. Oh wait, he doesn't have anything to make the model from.
Okay.
Actually, I'm doing a quick check. Believe it or not, our friends at Brodak used to carry some.
It's got a Fox 35 on it.
Yeah, but they didn't carry the Noble ARF, but they used to pick up a lot of different things from different people, and they had a cowl listed for a while, and it looks like it's gone now.
Because it's got the screw holes to mount it on the side, everything. But
yeah, that's the ARF for sure. But that cowl, Ed, is such a pain in the butt. That cowl, to get to the engine, you got to take the spinner, the prop, the muffler off, the needle valve. You got to take everything off to get to it. I would recommend making one that cuts across the needle valve, so you can just take off the cowl without taking anything off.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think it's worth it, or just fly it as is and just have fun with it?
I don't know. I may just do that.
Yeah, that's my first question.
Yeah, just I would dust those engine bearers because those are kind of weak.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, I've had like 4 of those planes, so you definitely want to put a triangular gusset on those engine bearers.
All right. Talking about right in here?
No, under it.
I was thinking under it. Yeah, like you want to support the yeah, exactly.
There you go, right there, right there.
Like that, yeah.
All right, I can do that. Yeah, right here, I noticed it was. I don't know if you see it. There's a hole right there where it's been. I don't know if somebody squeezed it and broke it, or if it's part of the wreck. But you can see the. You can see the glue joint right here where they've glued it back together.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'd say the heck with it. Just cover it and reinforce it a little bit. Go fly it. If it crashes. Who cares?
Yeah.
If you have an inclination, Ed, I would also replace those clevises. If it has the stock stuff, whatever you can get access to, replace it. I had the clevis pins break once, the one on the elevator, and then the other time on the flap. And the one on the flap, when that one broke, the plane crashed. The actual pin in the clevis broke.
All right.
Yeah, and then I had a top flight score, and I actually had the upright of the flap horn fracture off.
Wow.
So the top flight stuff is very suspect. Well, ARFs are very suspect, period.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I tried the ARF route a while ago. I'm not sure if they do a better job. I think the Brodak does a good job, but like the top flight, the whoever makes the score, I mean, just not really.
Don't get me wrong. I actually probably got about 500 flights on my score. I mean, I wore it out.
Okay. What I didn't like about the score was the several things, right? First of all, you didn't have enough fuel compartment to put 6 ounces in it. So when you try to put a 4 ounces fuel tank on a 60 size motor, that's not gonna fly with me. Another thing that was bad with it was the gear blocks. They're very weak and very. I mean, if you have a little bit of harder landing, you can feel it just moving after that. Another thing that I thought was really, really bad on that plane was the ground clearance. It was so small that I need to put a bigger prop on a plane, and I could not. I mean, I could not put a bigger prop, so I had to go back to a 3-blade prop to load the motor to
I
get.
think if you fiberglass over.
What? So I went to a heavier prop with the 3 blades to load the motor to the point that the motor started to run halfway decent. I also reverted to a one of the 6 ounces plastic fuel tanks to be able to get in there, and kind of work out after that. But I couldn't adjust the fuel tank up or down to get my even motor. One was running too fast inside, or no, too fast outside, kind of doing a 2/4 brake on the inside. It was just everywhere. So I wasn't. I mean, the plane is fly. The plane flies well. Okay, it's a good flying plane. But if you look at little details like this, like wake landing gear, you don't have proper ground clearance. They say that it's supposed to be like a 40 size plane. There's no way in the world it's a 40 size plane. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you look at it, it's bigger than the SV11.
Yeah, I had a Super Tiger
40 size
51
more.
in mine.
Yeah, if you want to fly just level flight to the 40 size motor, yes, they will probably get there, but no more than that. You can't do stunt with the 40 size motor on that thing.
What plane was this?
Score.
Yeah, Top Flight Score. It was another ARF.
Yeah.
Yeah, those ARFs served me well. I mean, they helped me out go quickly through the ranks, and now to compete, I need to build my own plane.
I mean, they're great for that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, just if you get a decent plane, like for me, if I see somebody that can fly even the beginner pattern or just dabbling into the intermediate or like full pattern, if you just know how to fly the pattern, or and you're even halfway decent at it, I say jump on a SV11 ARF, put an electric motor on it so you have a bulletproof and an idiot-proof kind of motor run that's going to run the same thing over and over again, and only have to worry about it. Like, what do I want to do with this plane? And there are plenty of people out there that know how to adjust them and make them fly well. I mean, to me, it was a huge difference from what I was flying before, and I wasn't even able to fly the whole pattern at the time. But it took me a month. Maybe after that, 1 month later, I knew how to fly everything. It was just that fast, but because the plane was behaving, the motor was behaving, everything was.
Oh yeah, that's a big
Yeah.
part of flying. Is just when you're new or you're a beginner, you don't even know what's wrong or you don't know anything. It's so hard to have somebody even help you because you can't even communicate what's going on.
Yeah, you have enough trouble flying the plane. You don't need to add more trouble of troubleshooting the equipment while you're trying to do the tricks and stuff like that. If the equipment is not up to par, or it's not helping you, and sometimes, quite honestly, I think some people are flying planes that are well below their ability, and they cannot make progress because they cannot. I mean, if your ability is here, your plane ability is here, how can you fill in the gap? You cannot. If your ability is here, your plane ability is here, now you have something to move in, right?
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. And you don't have to white knuckle all the maneuvers. But if you have a terrible plane, you're literally white knuckling everything.
Yeah.
And it's just very hard to relax to fly the plane.
Exactly. So you worry about the motor running. You're worrying about the plane performing. You know, slack lines and all that. All that stuff. Instead of just worrying about one thing. Where do I want to put the plane?
Airplane should always be better than the pilot. You should always strive to have an airplane you have to catch up to, not the other way around.
Exactly.
Right.
Where do I get one of those?
Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, box it up and ship it to me, Bob.
It's working pretty good right now.
Yeah.
That is great. Was there any video taken of your flights or anything?
I don't know. Oh yeah, that guy Jerry, the Russian guy, and his brother Andre. They were there taking video jumping program they had.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen the video yet, though. I probably don't want to.
You're gonna say, do I suck that bad?
Yeah. How about it? But the airplane's working very well.
Yeah. Speaking
Oh,
of
that's
which,
awesome. I'm
Bob,
happy for you, man.
speaking of which, Bob, I was watching on Alberto Solara's website with a video tracer, and he actually did videos of some of the guys at the World Championship.
Yeah.
And when I was looking at that, and I was going like, so they're not perfect either. I mean, actually, far from perfect, right? But but you go like, hey, I can get there. Gives you hope a little bit, right?
Yeah, it does.
Phil, I got that thumb drive in the mail on Saturday. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. Glad to hear it.
Yep, I'll get that sent off to my buddy that wanted it. You got that king sweep finished yet?
No,
Been 2
not
weeks?
yet. I'm still putting a Nobler back together and working on one of those little rascals that's behind Bob there. I want to get that thing finished. I don't know why there's no contest left unless we get to go to Pennsylvania. So I hope we get to go. But
me either.
It's a mess.
Alabama, New Orleans, and King Orange, all coming up. I know it's a long way for you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long way, but I may have to try to make it just to get out of the boredom.
What is New Orleans?
First week of November. Or no, wait, I'm getting this screwed up again. I got it written down somewhere. One of the contests is the same weekend that Huntersville would be.
That's Louisiana.
That's Louisiana.
Yeah, because
Another one is in October as well. I think King Orange is the following
October
weekend.
23rd.
23rd. And then the Arkansas Stunt Contest is November 3rd.
I'm going to try to make that one because it's literally in my brother's backyard. So we'll have to get the track going to that one.
Well, we'll be there.
Yeah,
there's the King Orange.
Yeah, King Orange. Yeah.
Are there any contests in Nashville?
Nope.
That's
Just,
bad.
it's the Sam and Mike show in Nashville. That's what we got here. We have a contest every weekend with ourselves.
Oh boy. You should have seen the one we had at the field today.
I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna go take my doggie out. Her eyeballs are floating, so I'm gonna go.
Okay, we'll see,
Bob,
Bob.
you take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.
Take care, Bob.
Take care, Bob.
The only one I know of in Tennessee was the Memphis Stunt Classic, and that ended a few years ago. As a matter of fact, I think Sam and I went to the very last one of that, which was a shame because they'd been running that for, I don't know, 20, 30 years, I think.
Yeah. Seems like a lot of the old classics are going away.
Speaking of Sam,
hey Don, I got the profile printed out for the fuselage.
All right.
What do you got there?
Ah, cool.
What plane is that, Ed?
JB Special.
Yeah.
I didn't quite get that.
JB Special.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
All right.
Robert,
Is that a profile?
No.
No,
this is just a fuselage part of it.
Yeah. So I want to make it, speaking about competitions, I want to make it to the King Orange. I was thinking about going to the Louisiana contest, but that's just 1 week in between them. And that's like 9 hours of driving or some insane amount of driving that I'm not sure I can make it by myself to stay there, do a competition, and drive all the way home in 1 day.
1 day.
I mean, I'll probably go there the day before anyways, sleep overnight. But to stay the contest and then after the contest to drive all the way back home in 9-10 hours, kind of out of my. But New Orleans is definitely my striking range.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about. I want to do Huntersville, but I think it's canceled.
It's canceled for this year.
It's canceled.
Yeah.
Robert, was there something you wanted to say?
yeah, it was for you, Mike. Pass along to Sam. I finally got around to seeing his videos of the gnats. Absolutely stunning. Awesome.
Oh, the one that he did good on was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so sad seeing that plane thump in like that, though. Poor little guy. But you know, he's gonna do great in the stunt circles. You should be very proud of him.
I am pretty proud of him, but you know, stunt is secondary for us. Really, combat is where we're at. So, I gotta say we do focus more on combat than we do stunt. But
Yeah, I haven't seen his combat videos yet. I just haven't been able to take the time, but looking forward to it.
I saw a few combat videos of Sam, and he's mean.
he is. You haven't been on lately, Robert, but he actually took 4th place at the Nats in half A combat, and he lost his first match, so he was in the losers bracket, and he fought his way out of the losers bracket. He beat every person in the losers bracket to make it to the final 4 fly off. And then he flew in the finals and ended up 4th place, but like a legit 4th place out of 16 entries. And I think there was 2 other juniors in there, the Anna Minor and Austin Minor, but they're teenagers. They're like, 14 and 15. But yeah, I was very proud of Sam. He did really good in half A. He had a legit win against the grown-ups. So
Would be truly awesome if we could get flying with Gerald's kids someday.
I'd love that.
Horrible.
Yeah, cool. I would love that. He's legit, no slouch, man. He's going after these guys, and nobody's giving him anything, So he's earning his wins and earning his cuts, and tearing a whole bunch of stuff up to get there. But that's all part of the game. So.
Well, be sure to tell him kudos from Canada.
All right, I will.
Thank you.
Sam would probably eat me alive in a combat match.
He'd eat all you guys alive, man. Hell, he's beating me most of the time now, too. We went out and flew on his birthday last Sunday. We spent the whole day flying combat, and I'd say he won 3/4 of the matches that we flew. So that was pretty good. And we had one really cool midair, too. We had a great midair. So that was fun. He liked that.
Daddy's got him flying a Nelson now.
He flew a Nelson on his birthday, too. Yeah, he flew his first Nelson powered 36, slow combat. And he hung on. So
I'm proud of the kid because I've seen Mike fly that Nelson, and it's god awful fast. That thing's ridiculous. Is that same type thing, same motor or type motor you flew at Huntersville?
It is, yeah, but this one was running on suction with a hard tank. It wasn't running on a bladder, so it's only 110. It's not 125. It's 110.
Well, if it's much over 55, I can't keep up with it. So,
yeah.
I flew one of those one time, and boy, oh boy, I didn't crash it, but I had a hard time keeping up with it. And that's after I flew it, and I was wondering, I was like, how in the freaking world do you fly this thing, look at the other plane, and try to fly it so it can cut the streamer off with the other?
And not get your wires all wrapped up.
In the process.
The thing is, though, 50% of fast combat matches end in a midair. Like 1 out of 2 matches, you're going to lose an airplane. So, especially in kills, you're not going for cuts, you're going for kills. So that puts you aiming closer to the airplane. You're not aiming for the end of the streamer, you're aiming for the string. So
but I have to find the plane in the first place.
Well, a lot of it's luck, too.
I'm busy worrying about my plane, where the heck my plane is at. It's like where the other plane is, like God knows.
You just know from feeling it. You just know, you got to learn to fly without looking at the airplane. You just got to know where your plane is and whether it's upside down or right side up when you can't see it.
I watched them, and the only thing I could think of, it would be, I don't know if anybody's seen Harry Potter, but watching him trying to find the snitch, flying around, and that thing's flying 100 miles an hour. That's what it looks like to me. It's just like trying to swat mosquitoes.
Right.
It's fun. There's nothing else like it.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
So, Mike, is it kind of like when you're playing basketball? You don't watch the basketball. You know where it's at, and you can beat your opponent because you don't know what you can run and shoot without seeing where the ball is at when you're dribbling. So kind of like that.
Yeah, kind of. But again, there's a lot of luck involved, man. There really is. There's a lot of luck. There's some skill, but even with two skilled guys, if they're really getting it and going after each other, they're going to run into each other. It's inevitable.
Oh, that don't
Is this
look
you,
good.
Peter? Yep.
Yeah, quick draw McGraw. You're always on it.
Yeah, it's pretty grainy and stoppy.
Yeah.
Well, that's clear.
Yeah.
Dayton, and Canada.
Yeah, this is the kind of combat that I used to see when they actually have two planes with two pit crews for each pilot.
Yeah, that's F2D combat. That's FAI combat.
Yeah, and those guys are just very, very professional. I mean, by the time if they have a mid-air crash, the second motor it's already running before even get to the one of the pit crews gets the streamer from the crash plane and runs to the other plane to put the streamer back on. And motor it's already running, ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are so professional.
You want to speak, Peter? There was a message saying you wanted to speak. Is that true, Peter?
What does the third guy do? Is he just judge who
Center
causes
marshal. He's called the center marshal or the circle marshal. He's watching for fouls. He's watching to make sure that nobody's getting any cuts if they're out of the pilot's circle. Because if you're outside the diameter of the circle and you get a cut, it doesn't count. There's a lot of rules in F2D. A lot of stuff can get you DQ'd or penalized. Your pitman can screw up your whole match if he does something the wrong way. We don't fly F2D, but because it's a lot of airplanes and a lot of very expensive high dollar motors.
Yeah,
to go to a contest. These guys, the F2D guys in the U.S., they'll buy 100 airplanes a year just to get through the contest season.
Holy smokes!
There's a lot of mid-airs in these too. Well, they're 15s. They're like 4 15s and Profis and Nelson 15s, but they're only flying on 52-foot lines, so they're wicked fast. They're as fast as Nelson big block.
Man, that's too quick for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm getting the warning that I'm about to lose my battery. So, guys, I'll see y'all Friday night.
We'll see you.
Have a great one. Take care, guys.
All right, as long as you don't lose your head, it's fine.
There
Good
you
night.
go. Take care. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
What's up, Len?
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing, buddy?
I see you talking about FAI.
Yeah, we were talking about combat a little bit. Sam and I are heading up to Detroit next weekend for the state
Good
meet.
stuff. That's awesome. Yeah, F2D is a little different than everything else. It's pretty quick.
I don't think they'll be flying F2 in Detroit because I don't think Brad and the McKenzie brothers and the Canadian guys will be making it over because the border's still closed, right?
Still can't get across.
Right. So I think F2 will probably be a wash, but we'll definitely fly all the other events, half-A speed limit, fast and slow. And they'll fly carrier if anybody's there wanting to fly it. They'll be doing carrier too. And I'm sure Paul Smith and Ronnie
they'll be
putting up some perky flights. They'll be doing their perky postal speed stuff.
They'll be all over that.
Yeah. Yeah. I may bring the jet up there too. I think I might bring Dad's Pulse jet up there and fly it at the Rouge again after we're all done on Saturday. Robert, did you how's your rugged stunt trainers going? Where did we end up on all those? Weren't you building
waiting on
20 of them?
some, like I said, it's crap conditions. I'll grab one. Hang on.
Hey guys, I'll be right back. Going to grab some snacks and something to drink.
All right, we can promise we're gonna behave.
Oh yeah.
Go send the hall monitor out.
Oh yeah, we were discussing we were discussing Venturi sizes and for OSLA 46s before.
Right.
This one's from Randy Smith, and the inside diameter of that particular Venturi is what is it? .265.
Okay.
Oh wow.
That's 265. I believe Randy said there were two sizes, a 2.6 and a 2.8.
Well, that he sells his aluminum ones, right? A stocker from OS is right around 280, and Jim Lee sells 3 different sizes of Delrin Venturis for the 46. He sells a 250, a 260, and a 280.
Okay.
And Tom Dixon, when you send a motor to Tom, he gets the Venturis from Jim Lee, and he puts a 280 in there when you get a rework motor from Tom.
So yeah, this one is an OS needle valve, small. I think it's a FP20 needle valve, and the Venturi on this one is 260.
So that needle valve assembly is universal. It works on anything from, maybe it might be a different one. There's one that works on anything from a 25 to a 40.
That's the one.
Is that the one?
That's the one. It fits a 20 up to a 46. That's the OS.
Yeah,
that's got a 155 diameter spray bar.
That's right. Yeah. That's the FP one. The FP
and you don't have to drill the case or anything. It's
right.
Goes right in.
That's what Randy was telling me. You don't have to drill anything on this one.
Right. If you're using a PA needle or a Tom Dixon needle, which is just a Brodak needle now, because he used to use double star needles, but the Brodak needle and the PA needle from Randy, you got to drill the case out and the Venturi to put those in there.
Looks like he's got his stunt trainer there.
What you got, Robert?
Yeah, I got one of them. I had this one up flying day after the contest. It's a little bit tail heavy though, and so I didn't do too much with it, but the thing flies pretty good. I got to bend the gear a bit more forward for the landings. But,
what'd you do for the gear on it?
I'll dig one of them out that I haven't installed because they're kind of hard to describe.
What are you eating, Len? Sounds crunchy.
Chips. It sounded like a horse eating oats.
Kibbles and bits.
Just a little wee bowl of chips.
Oh, okay.
I kind of like Rusty. Rusty would get on with his peanut butter wafer cookies, and it's one of my favorites. And he would sit there and he would eat them, and he would tease me with them, like snapping them. And I don't have any here, and it's one of my favorites.
What you got, Robert?
Yeah, what I did was can you see that in the camera?
Yeah, I'm going to make you big here. Yeah.
Yeah, I just basically took and Siamese some gear together, one behind the other in tandem.
Okay.
Wrapped them and had a brass plate for attaching with a...
right there, hold it still.
You can see that there.
Yeah, hold it still. Okay, so you just screw that into the bottom of the fuse.
Yeah, just one screw.
Yep.
Easily replaced in the field. I made extra sets for when but when I bugger them up.
Yeah.
So it seems to work okay.
What motor did you have on there? I couldn't see it. You had it off to the side a little bit.
Oh, one of my old Fox 35s.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
Classic crate.
Clunk tank on Uniflow.
Yep.
What kind of muffler? Do you have a muffler on that?
Yeah, just homemade tongue mufflers based on the Dubro.
Yeah, you're gonna have to put a Fox muffler on it to get it to balance, probably.
Well, I can just put a whole bunch of metal plates on the baffle plates on the end of the Dubro style if I want to do. This one, I got to do a strap on anyway. This one's an old Fox motor. About half of them are like that with zero provision for a muffler anyway.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they're just profile beaters, so what the hell? Anything goes.
Yeah, just put a Higley heavy hub on it, man.
Or if I need nose weight, what the hell? I'll just maybe see if I can hack out the mounts and put on one of my FX46s.
There you go.
Just kidding. Speaking of engines, I had a nice score for cheap. Brand new Super Tiger C35 Stunt.
Oh, nice.
For 60 Canadian.
That's all right.
That'll go nice with my old one. This is one I bought new back in mid-70s. It was originally RC. And this is another one that I picked up, a later version, which has muffler lugs. Which I didn't know they ever made them with that. Anyway, I picked this up to leave at RC for one of my profile carrier planes.
Do any of them have baffles on the pistons, or are they all flat?
They're flat.
Okay. Yeah, those are kind of rare, the ones that have a baffle. I have a couple of baffles, but I have more with flat top pistons.
Yeah, they seem to run just fine. I mean, I put a lot of flights on this thing way back when. I didn't fuss about the fuel, and it still snaps like crazy. So,
yeah,
engines.
Yeah, they are.
And they're light.
Uh-huh.
So my old Sterling Spitfire or my Sig Mustang, I figure I'll do a whole lot better with this than a McCoy or a Fox 35.
For sure. McCoys are tip weight.
Yeah. I don't know. I never really used them. I've got one.
You're not missing much.
Camp back in the day.
Yeah, you're not missing much.
Oh, come on. If you have like a old Goldberg shoestring stunter or one of those old profiles, and McCoy 2935, it'd be perfect for that airplane.
Yeah, it's perfect until it quits when the airplane goes upside down because they're just not worth the bother. That's the problem. I have a McCoy 29. I took it out about a week ago on a Ringmaster just to beat around, But of course, it was hot outside and humid. I take off, and it was running really good last fall in the cool weather. You put it up on a hot day, and it just, like, the metallurgy sucks in them so bad. You put it on its back, and it just goes, and it quits. It's like, oh, what am I doing this for?
Adjust your tank a little bit.
No, it's not the tank. It's just that they're just old engines, and they're finicky, and they're a pain in the butt.
Sounds like all of us.
Hey, that's what you put on the nose of a Goldberg.
Nice cosmic wind. Yeah, nice cosmic
wind.
wind.
Put on the nose of a Goldberg plane. This is my old. This is a
That's what I've
replica
got.
of my very first model ever. It's a cosmic
Yeah, that's
wind.
what I've got. Fox 35.
Yeah, and that's the engine
What does
that
it
was
weigh?
on my original too, as well as the bell crank in it.
What does yours weigh?
The total weight of the airplane, it's
Yeah,
heavy
with
because
the-
I've got those Kraft Hayes wheels on and aluminum gear and all that
Okay.
shit. So it weighs 39 ounces, I think.
39?
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
What's yours weigh, Len? About 70?
Also add an ounce.
Yeah, Len's
27.
Yeah.
27.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And you know what? It flies the pattern incredibly. I'm shocked how well it flies.
Kilograms.
Don't be
Now,
smart.
I've got this. I've got the 1/4-inch cheek cowls on it
Unbelievable.
and all that, and
Yeah, it looks nice, but it adds a lot. I know.
I made a streamlined tube. Just
Is that a Goldberg one or a Brodak one?
This is based on a Goldberg one, but it's 100% scratch built.
Okay, so it's got solid leading edge and trailing edge, right?
The
Yeah, see,
trailing edge
mine's
is
the
solid.
Okay,
I
but see,
built-up trailing edge with spacers between the shear
Okay.
webs.
All right, see, mine's the Brodak one, and it's got no shear webs, and it's got a built-up leading edge as well, and it's as light as a feather, but it's as fragile as I don't know what. It's very fragile.
This one right here is, that one right there was built in '62 by my dad, and it's got a 1957 McCoy Redhead on it, and I'll put it up in the air anytime and fly it just perfect.
That's awesome.
It's still
they're
got
good
the
airplanes.
original wood. It's still got the cloth hinges on it and the wooden control horn. The only thing I've done to it was cut the front pegs off of it where the rubber bands hold the rubber bands hold the landing gear.
Yep.
I cut them off and put hard mounts on it. That's the only thing that's been done to it.
That's awesome.
That thing, man, that engine though, you talk about them, but that I must have a gem then, because I ain't had a problem out of that one.
Well, I might have had a bad plug. I got to be honest. It could have been something else, you know.
Len, don't apologize, man. McCoys and Foxes suck, man. You're right.
I mean, my Foxes run pretty good. I've got them figured out, but not the McCoys.
Some of us have to run to our pocketbook. You know, we can't afford $300-400 engines, so we got to run what we got.
That's true. I hear you.
Well, I'm so glad I got this. I wanted for Christmas 1971 Cox PT-19. I ended up with this box full of wood. Never seen a model airplane before, flying model in my life, and had to figure out how to do it. Got a subscription to Model Airplane News, read everything I could, and put it together. And as ugly as sin, but you know, the damn thing flew, and I managed to learn to fly on it before I totaled it. And
that's awesome.
The rest is history. You know, if I got one of those plastic PT-19s, I don't know if I would have continued flying. I was by myself, and so it's nostalgia hit. So I rebuilt this, so hopefully my dad can see it fly again.
I'll tell you guys what, though, whoever doesn't like Foxes and McCoys and stuff like that, you'll absolutely love these.
What are they?
Are you kidding me?
Oh, yes.
Series 21. No, that was.
You go to electric, and I tell you what, if you bitch about engine runs or about engines, you go to that, and you no longer have a bitch.
Oh, we thought you were talking about the McCoy, the testers that was up there. You're holding up electric motor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you don't like McCoys or Foxes, they give you trouble.
Eddie, you don't have to have $300 or $400 engines. You just got to have what you showed earlier, which is that OSLA 46. That's right. Probably the best all-around economical stunt engine that you can buy today.
And if you go to a swap meet, you can probably pick one up for about $40.
$40-50. I buy them for $20 or $25.
Exactly, at swap meets.
You know, and if they need a new piston, RC Japan, man, I just order a new piston. Because you know,
it's 2 FX classes. They were dirt cheap. I mean, they came with a couple of RC airplanes, complete with radio gear, field blocks, fuel, all kinds of crap. And it cost me a case of aviation oil, which was $80 Canadian.
Yeah, that's a deal.
So
Eddie,
these RC planes as donors.
Speaking of RC swap meets,
you know what blows my mind?
Go ahead, Len.
Go ahead.
I was just going to tell
I
Eddie
was
really
just going to
quick,
say that
the Music City Aviators
go ahead.
Are having their swap meet on October 31st. It's the only one we're going to have in Tennessee. It's outdoors at the field at Peeler Park. So on the 31st of October, there's an outdoor swap meet at Music City Aviators. I'll be there looking for deals on stuff.
Bargoonies.
Peeler Park, is that what you said?
Yeah, Peeler Park. Bargoonies, you bet. It's in Madison. It's in Madison. It's at the end of Neely's Bend Road off of Gallatin.
Okay.
Gallatin Road and Neely's Bend. You take it all the way down. Almost, if you hit the river and you hit the boat ramp, you went too far. It's just before you hit the Cumberland. You make
I know where you're talking about.
Yeah, it's that.
I just didn't know the name of it.
Yeah. So we'll be there.
All right, man. Yeah.
Looking for props and cheap OS engines.
I have to say I have to say something. At the Georgia contest, almost everybody that ran IC motors, almost everybody had problems of some sort.
What about the guys that ran electric?
Except for those, you know, they were all bulletproof. but I couldn't find. I mean, I was judging over there, and I was judging the experts as well as the different class over there. There's only one person of the whole bunch that had a good motor run. One person on IC.
Wow.
And I was looking on all the other circles. Everybody had the issues, including Mike.
Oh yeah.
And Derek was trying to fly his new plane over there. Well, Derek had problems too.
He had tank problems, so they weren't
Yeah,
motor problems. He had tank problems.
some kind of problems, some kind of issues, Yeah.
Yeah. And my problems are times two because I've got my stuff and Sam's stuff. So
yeah,
it's even worse.
But everybody that did run electric, bulletproof, no issues. So that's all I have to say about that.
So what you're saying is what you usually say, that electric's better than IC. Okay,
I'm
we
not
got it.
saying
Well, what I'm saying is,
I'm not saying that.
if you guys have problems with engines and I only run this kind and all this kind of stuff, then if you go to electric, you got no problems.
Yeah.
But like I said, when we went over to France, different country, different altitude, stuff like that, we tweaked the lap time is all we did. We gave it, I think, a couple hundred more RPM, and that was it for the whole thing. Everybody else every morning was over practicing, setting needles, mixing fuel, doing all kinds of shit there at the World Championships.
Mm-hmm.
And we go out.
Well,
we were done within an hour. She put in 4 flights. We're off doing other things, and they're there all day long messing with getting the motors to run.
Well, you know what? To be fair, where I live here in Escondido, we have some electric guys who've tried it. And now one guy, I'm not going to name his name, but he's an expert pilot. Never seen him crash. Good flyer. He went electric. He crashed. Had 3 electric planes crash, so they just stopped all of a sudden with no warning at the worst time. And
yeah, but I know what he's running that one from RSM.
Maybe
I bet you any money he was running that one.
So, it's not like, I mean, for the audience who's listening, it's not like it's all just plug and play. Electric is no problem. I mean, there's a learning curve and there's some issues. Like I said, this guy's a very good pilot. Lost 3 airplanes. I have another flying person who had nothing but problems with electric, and he. So I mean, I know there's electric power systems a good way to go. I'm not saying it's not good, but you know, it has to be kind of even-handed. It's not like people like have no issues with electric. And
If you run Hubrin,
why?
or if you run Igor's or the guy from Fioretti or whatever, you run them 3, you're not going to have any problems. You run that other one, and Samantha put in 2 airplanes doing that, and it was all in her square maneuvers. When the batteries start getting low and you turn real sharp, that damn timer thinks that you had a prop strike and it shuts everything down. And I know that's what it is. So we just, once we quit using them, we've never crashed another airplane. We've never had a problem with electric.
Yeah. So I think there are a couple of problems with the electric. Number one, like you say, Steve, and then this first time I'm hearing about it. It might be a timer equipment kind of related. I think the second one is misunderstanding the electric system, and everybody's using too small of a motor for the plane.
Too small of a prop or pitch on a prop too.
Yeah, that's in addition to it, right? They try to use high RPM setups on a setup that likes to run low RPMs. Electrics are most efficient at low RPMs and least efficient, and they lose a lot of power at high end. So and they get hot and stuff like that. So I think everybody puts a small motor. Say I'm going to save 20 grams on this motor, but they don't realize that they add 40 grams on the other side of the system with heavier batteries, bigger ESCs, heavier wires to carry all of that, plus the extra heat that you create in the whole system. So so that doesn't make any sense to me. So yeah. When you stress out the motor so much, you can burn it out easily. and I just, you know, I talked to somebody on the phone, and they said that their motors are running at 140 degrees. That's at maximum. That's a maximum. You're just asking for a failure right there, and that's just because he uses too small of a motor. If they would use a little bit bigger motor, everything would be easier. And
really, the only we didn't burn up a motor. That's the only problem that we had since we changed timers. But what it was is that they cut the field, and it was long about 3 days before. And I'll be damned if it didn't suck in cut grass into the electric motor. And she took off, and that thing started squealing and making weird noises. But yeah, it's, you know, she landed it, and the motor was junk. It seized the motor up, basically.
Well,
but
it's the same thing in IC.
I've done that to IC though. I've sucked in stuff into the intake on one of mine. But
yeah, if we in IC, if we do something that's not right or get the setup wrong, we're going to have problems every time. I get it, but it's the same with any of this stuff. If your setup isn't right, or you suck something in, or whatever, it's going to fail. It's the way it is.
Yeah. But you know, for me, at least for me, you know, I can't talk for anybody else. For me,
no,
since I made the switch and I was kind of reluctant about it, I never had a single problem with it. So,
well, that's good.
Yeah,
and I think that's great. If you can make it work every time, I think that's phenomenal. But generally, and I'm just saying generally, I'm not saying I'm perfect by any stretch, but generally, I can make IC work pretty consistently.
That's good for you, you know.
And if it's working for me, I'm going to work with it.
Yeah, sure.
The one thing with electric motors is you don't have to worry with humidity and
altitude.
The humidity, the temperature change, the altitude, stuff like that. I could see where that's a big advantage.
That is
pressure
true.
change. Sometimes you get atmospheric pressure change, and then you have to change up with everything. You know, So one thing is electric is good about is very, very easy to make changes and get back into business.
Right.
I mean, if you need to change like a couple hundred RPMs or just change a little bit, I mean, it takes you 1 minute to do a change, and you're done.
Well, it's like, you know, what I say, I still have all kinds of IC motors, and I've been a motorhead. And I was gonna tell Mike I got that Brodak motor pre-broken now. I've been running that. I ran about a half a gallon of fuel through it, so I got that going. And I'm still a motorhead. I like them, but when it comes to contests, it was like, man, you spend $7,000 going to the World Championships and then have to play 3 days trying to get the damn engine run and everything right on it. I mean, you go to a weekend contest. I mean, we go to Brodak. You know, it was a couple grand to go to that. And then you got motor run problems and shit. It just was, to me, it wasn't worth it to spend that kind of money, you know, and have problems. If I'm going to spend $2 grand, I want to go there and have no problems. It's not like at the home field, you only get 2 good flights in. It ain't bad. But, man, you're 400 miles away and you got problems. It's a bitch.
Okay, somebody had mentioned, we need to adjust the RPMs up or down, or the length of the engine run up or down. How do you do that on the field?
On the field?
Yeah.
With a little box.
It's very simple. You take the box out of your flight box. You connect it to the. Give me a minute. I'll show you how.
Okay, so how much is this box?
Go ahead.
You have to set this box up at home ahead of time.
No, it's all in there already in the box. I think the box is $35.
And that works on all setups. It's universal.
It depends on which one it runs on Fioretti's and Igor's. Then if you want to go with the one from who's the other guy? Shit.
Hubert?
Yeah, Hubert. His box is $70, and his only works with his. But some of Hubert's timers, you don't need it. You got a little pot, you can adjust the RPM, but that's not real precise when you're doing stuff. But once you got the box bought, it's good forever. You know, the one that I'm using is probably for the Hubron is 7 years old. And I had to get a new EEPROM chip for it because he's got some more programming in it for different ESCs. And I think he sent me that in the mail for $5, and I popped it in the box, and it's good to go. But the other one is from shit, I can't think. Who makes the other one?
So essentially, you basically have the same juggling thing that you have to do. You have this box, and you want to increase or decrease RPM, but then, of course, that has to be balanced against whatever propeller that you happen to be running at any given instant, of course, which determines on whether you want to be running a 3-blade, a 2-blade, how much pitch. Okay, so it's really no different than the state.
But you can, what you can do is that if you're going to change your prop, you can put a 1 minute flight in it. See what the speed is, land it, go out there and change it, and bring the RPM up and down. Depends on what you want, and then that's it. But yeah, here you can see trying, changing, plugging in, and you can see what he can go through.
Okay. So this is how it works. You get access to your ESC, which has like a RC type of plug in it. So this is my timer right here.
All right.
I'm not sure if you see it, but it's just like an RC plug, right?
See it.
So what you do, you plug this box inside.
Jetty, that's the name of it.
Yep. It's universal. It's like like a data link. You can program a lot of stuff with it. Yeah.
It's an EEPROM programmer. EEPROM programmer.
So here we go. I'm connecting it. Let's say I need to make a change, or I want to fly faster, or whatever. I'm connecting this guy in. And here, let me grab this and bring it closer so you can see. All right. Do you guys see this?
Yeah.
Okay, so it says the timer. I'm going down, and it says delay. This 35 seconds. This is the moment from whenever I push the button to turn it on,
right?
And to the how fast. So this is the flight time. Okay. If I want to fly 1 minute flight, I can just go back and forth with these buttons, So
right.
This up and down goes through menus. This is going to make the change. As simple as that. So if I want to go faster, right now it's 156. That's my target RPM. If I want to go faster, I go like that. Or I'll say I want to go a little bit faster. I want to go to 160. So I set it to 160. I disconnect, and I'm done. It's programmed. That's all you do. That's all you do.
All right.
So that's your needle valve.
Yeah. Done.
Right.
Now I'm going to fly a little bit faster, probably from 5.4 to 5.3. And I want to do that anyways. So there you go.
So, Cheyenne, when you build the plane, how much soldering did you have to do?
Not much. You don't really do a whole lot of soldering. The soldering is relatively easy process. Really, I didn't do much soldering.
Yeah, the only thing they really got to solder is your ESC.
Yeah,
and it's just to match whatever you got on your
yeah, the bullet connectors.
motor, because they got different sizes of the plug-in connections.
But
they come in the box, and they're already stripped. You just poke it down the hole and hit it with some solder, and it's done.
Yeah. This is what I soldered to the ESC. These two connections,
right,
which goes to my battery. That's all I soldered. The front ones are already to the correct diameter and stuff like that, so I just plug them in a motor. Done. That's all. I mean, it's not difficult stuff.
Well, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not intimidated by it. I used to be an electronic technician. I know I can do all this stuff. I'm just asking the question for the general public. So
no, I get it.
Any curiosity?
Yeah.
I'm just asking the question. But I have no problem soldering. But there are people who do have problems soldering.
Yeah, all you do is just connect these two over there, go through the menus up and down.
Right.
As you go up and down, you're gonna cycle from like delay time or the flight time or what's your main RPM when you fly level as to get your lap time, and then you have some other couple of more menus in there, and that's all you do. That's it. So if you go somewhere like, you know what? So you go over there somewhere, or you fly over there. Nah, I think I want to fly a little bit faster or get a little bit more power because I'm too high up at altitude, right? So I want to have a little bit quicker flight, so make up for the thinner air, whatever, Or you want to fly slower if you go down to the sea level, or whatever adjustments you want to do. Like how much stuff do you need to go through to change the 2-4 brake to be a little bit harder or a little bit softer, right?
Right.
The head shims, pipe length, God knows what else, right?
Right.
In here, I just connect it. I change two numbers, disconnect, put it back together, done. All I have to do is just change my sensitivity, and the sensitivity is going to say how much harder it's going to go when you go up or when you come down. So.
But the other thing that we always did is that if it was a gusty day, we'd stick in 20 seconds more flight time, knowing that we're doing, basically figured 5-second laps. So Samantha could add 4 extra laps. If she's coming into a maneuver and the wind all of a sudden gusts, she'd just do another lap around.
Right.
And then wait to see if the wind calmed a little bit or whatever. And that was one of our strategies you could do with electric. You're not going to overrun. We know, we can go up to 7 minutes there in France, 8 minutes here in the United States. As long as you know you got the battery, you can put in a whole lot of extra laps if you think you may need them. And if you don't, you just fly them out at the end. And that's that.
Do the electric motors take a different prop, or use the same IC props?
It can take any prop. Let's put it that way. Any prop. But what you want to do, you want to use the props for electric are not as beefy as the one for the IC, because you don't have the bang 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 behind it from the explosion. So it's just a smooth run. So you can get away with a much lighter blade, much lighter prop. So that's the only thing that you might need to worry about. Other than that, it's like I think it's better to, if you go electric, go next size up in diameter and up in pitch and run the motor slower. You don't really want to use the same props. I mean, I'm using a 12.6 right now on mine.
But it's a 12.6 electric prop, right?
Yeah, it's a 12.6 electric prop. What RPM I'm running, I don't know.
Yes, it's like that one there. I mean, it weighs nothing. It just, carbon fiber electric. It weighs nothing. But the wood ones are, you get wood ones like that too.
Yes, mine weighs like 16 grams, 14 grams, somewhere over there. I mean, it's super light. The idea is that, like on a baseball player, it's like what's easier to swing, two bats or just one? So that's like a mechanical load on the motor. So they try to keep the props as light as possible because they don't need to be beefy because they will not break. And that's that way you use less battery and it's more efficient. So that's
And
all
you can
that's
change,
it.
it'll change speed faster. You can tell the difference with the lighter props that when the motor speeds up or slows down, it does it quicker.
Yes, yeah, of course, yeah, because yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
Do you use any kind of usable link in case of a battery surge or an overheat?
I didn't understand that.
Do you use it like an automobile electric to use a fusible link in case there's a battery surge or an overheat issue? Instead of burning up the unit that's running, say, for instance, like the alternator, the fusible link melts and you save the alternator. Do you do the same thing with those electric motors in case of like a battery surge or a battery overheat?
There's no battery surge because the ESC is going to draw whatever power needs to draw from the battery to provide to the motor, and that's all there is. That's what guides how much electricity gets out of the battery. That being said, most of the batteries we use, they're rated at a minimum about 25 C, which means if at 25 C and you have a 1 amp battery, you can dump 25 amps out of the battery continuously, right? Now most of us use about 2800 milliamps or something like that.
Yeah.
And 2800 milliamps times 25 is let's say 2.8. Okay, so give me a second. 2.8 times 25 is 70 amps continuously. I mean, those batteries can provide 70 amps worth of power at all times, non-stop, right?
Right.
At maximum. We never reach that point, so it's never an issue.
Well, it depends too, though, on the ESC. Like the Jetty one, if you have a prop strike, it will actually turn everything off.
Yeah, they know
you
that.
can
Yeah.
smoke the motor with some of the cheaper ESCs.
That's also true.
It goes into the ground, you bury it, and the motor doesn't shut off. What's to keep that battery from overheating and burning the motor up and burning the battery up?
I did that one time. The motor stopped.
And it doesn't affect the motor. It just stops. It doesn't keep drawing power.
No, it's fine. It stops. The ESC recognizes those.
Right. Now I have burned off a motor, but there is, like he's saying, the amp draw, it won't hurt the battery. It just burns, it smokes the motor.
Usually.
Yeah.
Or if the motor is too small and you have too much power from the ESC, then the ESC smokes.
Yeah.
But almost always is because the motor is too small. That's typical mistakes that most people do.
No, that was my question about the fusible link wire. That was all. So you didn't smoke a motor, you didn't smoke a battery.
Yeah, depends where you create the stress, right?
Yeah, you could, actually you could put one in on a cheaper ESC that doesn't have any protection in it.
Yes.
You could put a fusible link in there and protect it that way. That's probably not really a bad idea. I never thought of it before because I always buy the more expensive ESCs that are shut off.
Yeah,
I used to do that. I used to put a fuse in.
With the electric, so I'm not that familiar with it yet. So.
Yeah.
Oh, in the early days of electric, when I was using brushed motors, I used to put a fuse in there and it would blow the fuse when you got a prop strike. Or if you had a good prop strike, you simply break or bend the shaft. That was the common thing that used to happen when I was flying the old can motors eons ago. So, yeah, nowadays, it's not really an issue. It's not a big problem if they've got a reasonable speed controller.
Yeah, I bounced my Ringmaster with the electric, and when it hit, it threw the landing gear up into the prop and stopped the prop, but it didn't hurt the airplane at all, and the airplane went back up in the air, and it's like I turned the the smoke on a jet. That son of a bitch started smoking as it started gliding back in. Everybody's like, wow, that was really neat. He said, yeah, I caught out with 35 bucks to be really neat. But it didn't break the prop or anything. It just popped them stupid landing gear forward and right into the prop and just stopped it.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a motor that has, an ESC that has like a prop strike detection, I think that's the best. They cost a little bit more, but yeah, whatever. Anything can be broken.
That's true.
Yeah.
I would assume that any halfway decent electric motor control can have some sort of current limiter on it, where it's actually monitoring whatever current is being demanded by the motor. Obviously, the greater the load, the greater the current is going to be required. And as far as amperage is concerned, not voltage, voltage being constant versus actually increase of current. Increase of current would indicate that the voltage would drop. So I would suppose that any ESC or any motor controller worth its weight in anything would turn around and have some sort of protections built in to say, okay, I am delivering X amount of voltage versus X amount of current. When the current goes up to past a certain point or the voltage drops because of the increased demand, I can only go so far before I turn around and say, hey, no, I'm shutting down.
Yeah.
You'd think that, Peter, but not on a $20 ESC.
No, I wouldn't expect it on a $20 ESC.
Hey, you buy the better ones, and they all do that.
Yeah.
It's a bit like the audio systems in the past. Yeah, I was just going to say if you bought a decent amplifier and you shorted out the speakers, it would close it down until you got rid of the short. But if you bought a cheap amplifier and you short the speakers, then sometimes it would blow the output transistors on it or integrated circuits. So it really came down to cost what you had bought.
But
there's another thing that's going on
to a certain point, but it has to have some sort of flexibility into it because, okay, considering in a windy condition, you're going upwind in a pattern or you're going into a climb in a pattern, which would demand a greater current load versus any voltage that you're applying, and it has to you turn around and you can't have a point where you pull into a vertical maneuver and ESC says, oh wait a minute, this is just too much for me to handle at this particular point, I'm going to shut down.
Never happened.
In a windy condition, when you're flying into or out of the wind, where the current load continually varies, and you're going into the wind, your current load goes up. Going downwind, the current load goes down, but you still have to maintain RPMs. That gets to be kind of a tricky balancing act. So long as the ESCs are programmable for that type of environment, I would say that's great. But otherwise, you can run into all sorts of issues.
Well, Peter, that's not really an issue in flight at all. Because whenever you have a prop strike, a couple of things happen, right? The motor, the ESC sends a signal to the motor and kind of monitors the motor spinning, right? It knows that the motor switch so it can switch the polarity and stuff like that. So that's one piece of data, right? And another piece of data is the high current that's demanded, right? So the ESC knows to shut down relatively quickly. As for the variation that you're talking about in flight, how much faster the motor moves when it changes RPMs from one to the other, it's not big enough to make any issues to shut it down or something like that.
I would agree with you, but that is the whole fundamental basis. I'm not necessarily, I'm not trying to compare apples to this is apples to oranges, but that is basically the whole fundamental about a 4-2-4 run. You turn around and in the verticals or the overheads, where the engine needs to develop more power or a faster RPM, we have designed our internal combustion engines to actually work in that mode if you're doing 424. As versus, how does the ESC or how does an electric system do the same thing, or does it not? That means when you're like picking up RP, let's say you're behind the wind and you're coming downwind, you're coming down on a vertical 8 or whatever, and the airplane is basically being affected by gravity. Number one, it's heading down, and gravity is assisting the airplane to head down. Plus, maybe wind is a factor where it's trying to speed up at the end of, or what we would call zooming in a internal combustion engine event, where it would naturally would have to be slowing down into like what we would call a 4-2 brake, the 4 cycle, to slow down to make sure that you're not zooming out of the corners. I'm just throwing
It
basically.
doesn't at the speed of light. I forget how many times a second it monitors itself, and it does it at the speed of light.
No, I understand. That's what I'm trying to get at. Does the electronics compensate for those type of things? I'm not talking about
yes, Peter.
Yeah. The motor stops turning where it was trying to turn all along. But the more the finesse, the more subtle changes that would be required to hold, let's say, a 5.7 lap time, regardless of what maneuvers are being flown.
And that's a timer function, right? The ESC, the way you program a ESC, when you program a ESC, it's how do you want the motor to respond to the inputs that you put on the ESC, right? Like, say you have an RC motor, right? When you go from full throttle to the idle, how fast do you want it to change the RPM? You want it to go instantly as you move the throttle body, or you just want it to kind of slowly get up to speed? Or that's the ESC kind of controls. Now the timer tells the motor to turn off, shut down, speed up, slow down, and stuff like that. And to answer your question, it's yes, you can control that. The 242 brake on using the timer, but it all depends what kind of timer do you put in your plane. And basically, it's the Igor timer system and it's the Fioroti. Those are the 2 timers that are called active timers. And the active timers, what they do, they will change the signal to the motor. It's going to actually tell the motor go faster, go slower, right? At certain spots in a flight. And you can definitely hear the motor just coming on the top of the loop, coming off, down. And as you go overhead, you can hear the motor just kicking in harder. And you can also program how hard is it gonna be. Do you want to go just a little tiny 2/4 brake, or you want to have a hard 2/4 brake?
Now, my question is: are these like preset power curves, or are these dynamic? I mean, what I mean by dynamic is this on the fly, where it's actually the ESC or the timer is actually sensing the current or the load demand on the electric motor at any given instant, versus something that you pre-program in and say, oh, I don't care what the load is, I'm just going to do this, this, and this, depending on what current draw is required on the motor.
You can do it either way.
Depending on the accelerometer, right?
Right. I mean, you can set it up like you said, sensitivity. If you raise the nose a little bit, it'll speed up right now, or you have to raise it a lot and it'll finally speed it up. You set it any way you want it to fly.
Exactly.
I may be getting a little bit too far down into the weeds. That's because I'm basically an engineer, so I'm like trying to figure out, with trying to compare it, which you can't really do to an IC motor, but over, I would say, 75 or 100 years of flying control line with internal combustion, it's become a relative, it's become almost become an art to determine or to set up an engine run the way you want it to run. You have your 424 brakes, then you have your pipe engines, which turn around and pretty much give you a constant powered feed regardless of engine RPM, because the pipe pretty much determines or tells you what RPMs that engine is going to produce its power at as a consistent basis. And of course, it becomes a fine juggling act. With an IC, I'm just gathering right now from what you're describing is that electric has got a better feedback loop where the ESC or the timer can actually look at what the environmental conditions are of the particular motor run or that electric motor run at that particular time and adjust accordingly.
Well,
yes, that's true. There are actually, excuse me, Steve. There are actually two feedback loops. There's the feedback loop between the ESC and the motor, where they kind of talk to each other, and the ESC knows how much to give to the motor to make it do what was commanded. And then you have the feedback loop in the timer, in which it looks at the position of the plane, angle, whatever, and it controls how fast it wants the motor to go. And the ESC's job is that whatever the timer tells you to do, the ESC job is to make sure that the motor is doing it, and it's doing it through a feedback loop in between them.
You can do it on an IC motor. You just have to hook a servo to your pipe with an adjustable stinger and move the cone in and out.
Okay.
You can do the same thing, because when I raced go-karts, I had a handle on mine that when I went down a straightaway, I pulled the cone in for top speed, and then when I went through the corners and all that kind of stuff, I let the handle go, and then I had the more torque out of the two-cycle. And that was a big thing that a buddy of mine came up with that idea, and it worked real good, and then everybody started using it. But yeah, you can tune a IC motor. It'd be complicated, but you could do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is what I want to say. Just the main point is to take is like, yes, you can do with both systems. If you know what you're doing, you can do them with both systems. If you're very familiar with IC, you can make them do whatever you want to do. But if you look at both systems, electric, it's a lot easier to make those changes. And you don't need a basket full of props to do it either. You can have one prop on a plane and just call it a day, and that's it. On IC, well, maybe creating more power. Now I need to go bigger prop, a heavier prop, load up the motor, right? Because I'm creating the power. It's early in the morning. Then the afternoon, the heat comes up, and then the motor doesn't create the power. Maybe it gets hot. In addition to that, now I need to go change the prop again, or maybe even the tune pipe. Maybe the atmospheric pressure changes, have less air pressure or more air pressure. Now I have to go another thing. It's just so much to mess with. It's possible, but if you need to do, like, if you have one flight to get it right and you don't know what you're doing and you go in the wrong direction, then you're pretty much screwed, and I don't say no. It's everybody likes something, right? And it's room for everybody, and that's what I'm saying. Whatever you want to do. But if I was a beginner that just learns how to fly, and I don't know what to do, what to play with an IC motor, how to make it run or something like that, and I don't want to mess around with it. I want to have a trouble-free kind of thing, right? Then it would be a no-brainer to me. I'll just definitely go electric and just call it a day, and then all I worry about is, like, what do I want to do with this plane? If I have a prop strike, I might burn an ESC or whatever, it's not that expensive. Electric is not too expensive, you know. You have like a $45 motor. You can have like a $60, $70 ESC, a Castle. I think it's about that much, right?
Yeah.
And then just 2-3 batteries if you want to fly continuously, and a charger. You add them all up, I mean, they're about as much as I think. I mean, so say 3 batteries. Let's go nuts. Like, if you want Thunder Powers, right? Which are the lighter one, the better batteries, right?
They're on sale today. Well,
yeah,
no, they're off sale. 13 minutes ago, they went off sale.
They were on sale?
Yeah, for Labor Day.
Oh, okay. How much? Half off, something like that?
Yeah, whatever it was, 50% off or whatever. They do that on all the holidays, but
There you have it. There you have it. So you can spend, say, $120 for 4 batteries, $140 for 4 batteries, $160, $170 for a charger. This like the charges 4 batteries at a time, and so that's about $300. And now you're talking a motor and a ESC. Say about $400 get you set up for anything. I'm talking about 60 size ship.
Okay, you better be talking about 60 size ship, because you know,
It
for
is,
IT,
yeah.
you go out and you find yourself a Fox 35 on eBay for $35, a couple bucks.
Yeah,
for
that's not a
fuel.
top-notch engine.
It's fine. Yeah,
But I can buy a Stalker 66 for that price too.
Don't talk about starting out.
But if, when you start out, you can buy a damn $7 ESC and a $12 motor.
Yep.
And
you can do that too.
A really cheap battery, and have the whole setup for, I don't know, $50. I'm trying to think what I had. We went with the top-notch one for that airplane me and Dennis were doing to give away. I had 100 and some bucks into it. But that was.
How long does it take to charge a battery?
Huh?
How long does it take to charge the battery?
Mine takes about half an hour, but if you have 4 batteries, you can just keep charging them on the field and you just keep flying.
Okay, but all right.
And you're not buying fuel or looking for the right fuel or mixing it.
Oh, you don't have to, come on, John. You don't have to look for the right fuel. Just go out and get Sig Champion fuel. That'll work for just about everything.
Oh, where do I buy it around here?
I don't know.
Well, that's the point.
You just have to make sure you have good quality electrons in a battery.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get that for a super service.
I only charge my batteries in
About 18
Michigan
gallons
because
of
our electrons here in Michigan are just a lot better than other states. So
I use solar power because that's pure power. And it's good.
I didn't think about that, but yeah, if I got a solar one, then I could charge my batteries in any state and it'd be the same.
There you go.
How do you know you get good quality sun rays for that?
Oh yeah, because if I went to California, it'd have to come through all that smog.
Oh,
that might
all
really.
the fires I got going over here this morning, I woke up everything with a hazy red color for half the day because of the smoke.
Yeah. There goes your idea, John. Screw that. I'm staying in Michigan and charging my battery.
Let's see if I get a Stalker. Now. I don't need any nitro, right?
Right.
And I can go to the local hardware store and get methyl hydrate for about $10 a gallon.
Methyl
That's pretty
hydrate?
cheap.
What the hell is that?
Or methanol. Sorry, methanol.
Oh. Right. I'm saying, what kind of fuel you burning? You know.
No.
Why not?
Hey, Canadian. I mix my oil in it, and away I go.
Yep. So, nobody stalkers. Stalkers are, to my opinion, stalkers are about as close as you can get to an electric in an IC motor. They run consistently and
quietly
and pretty much the same every time.
John?
Yeah.
I agree.
If you're so much up on electric, I would turn around and say, well, Jesus, You just did it. You just did the plans for the Saginaw. That's an IC motor. Your Pathfinder LE is an IC motor, and just about every other plan that you've done is for an IC motor, John.
Every one except for the very last one, because that's what I started to make my switch to electric. But you know, when you draw plans, at the time those plans were drawn, there weren't that many electrics out there.
No, there aren't.
That's true.
And the Saginaw, when it was, I mean, I wouldn't power a classic or an old time plane with electric just because they were powered with IC.
So in that case,
I'm of the same opinion.
Let's think of the current designs. The Stargazer, is that an IC design, or is that an electric design?
You know, I'm sure there are both out there.
IC. Thundergazer, IC.
I'm sure there are versions for both ways out there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Dennis had a mission. Will make a he makes a deal so you can turn it into electric.
Well, it really doesn't matter. Yeah. It really doesn't matter what plane it is. I mean, I think you can make any plane that's IC, you can make it electric.
Most definitely, and vice versa.
Exactly. And
I would say
the only
any
thing
door design, it's still hard to make like something made for a Fox 35 into electric. The nose and stuff isn't long enough.
Well, yes.
If you get a PA ship that's made to hold a 7.5 ounce tank, that nose is long and it balances right with electric. But you get, you know, some of these other ones, it's hard to do an electric with it.
Well, what I want to say is that obviously the wings are just, you don't have to change the wings much.
Right.
You don't have to change the elevator or the back of the fuselage or anything, but you have to build the nose of the fuselage for electric. So what does that mean for electric? First of all, electric doesn't create vibrations. It doesn't create the shock waves that come from the motor explosions and stuff like that. So you don't give a rat's ass about how strong it is, right? 1/64 plywood is more than enough to double the inside of the nose, and you mostly do it so when you take the batteries in the night, you're not gonna wear out and scratch the balsa wood and start to dig into it.
Okay. So
Kind of
Trey,
like that.
Trey, when are you gonna write your Stunt Hangar, not your Stunt Hangar, but your Stunt News article for constructing your model, a design that is exclusively built for electric, and posted on the
Stunt Hangar. You can get on Stunt Hangar and see it. He did a whole build on that.
Yeah.
No, everything is there. It's already there.
Put it together for a Stunt News article. I'm sure that the Pampa guys would love to get that up there.
Well, all they gotta do is go to Stunt Hangar and all the Pampa guys can see it.
I gave the guys at the Pampa guys some articles to publish, and nothing was published. So why bother?
I'm sorry. That kind of sucks.
The thing is,
there was a discussion about. I mean, Pampa right now is like an all volunteer thing. But if you submitted something to publish and they did not publish it, I am not sure why I'm spending $45 a year to join.
The thing with trans design, I think Trey, and I think you've got your hand on a very good system, but unfortunately it's a system that for the average guy, as long as the POM is out there and that the average guy can't duplicate what you've done because he'd have to build the molds, everything else, or have you ship your molds to him so he can, it's completely your airplane. Everything that you did in there is basically hand built by you.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
And for me to try to do that, I mean, I'd have to make the same investment, though I may not have the inside edge that you might have had. But for the molds, for the, it's just mind-boggling what it would take, to duplicate your airplane. I think your airplane's a wonderful airplane. I think your concept is great. I think the application that you've made is great. I kudos to you for what you've done.
I think you need to give some of them away and get them out.
And you should be rewarded for it too.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
what I want to say is that it doesn't have to be this plane in particular, right? But some lessons learned, right? Like you know what my biggest thing is, that everybody I talk to, I tell them about it and stuff like that. They all say about something like, pretty much it goes into, yeah, but everybody that flies on world champions and stuff like that, they fly sharks and something else.
Yeah, you got to change the paradigm.
So I'm not a world champion. So
most of the guys who fly sharks aren't either.
Exactly.
Back in the day,
on a line who was not a world champion.
Let's be honest. Anybody with a few bucks can get a shark, but that doesn't make them a world champ.
Back in the day, the
The
Nober was the stunt plane in the 50s and the 60s, until people like Gialdini, who modified it to a point where he started with a Nober, he didn't wind up with a Nober, with his Olympic. Others, a lot. It's a growing thing. It's an organic thing with the stunt designs, the stunt designs over the years.
Yeah, then you jump forward. Then you had Big Jim Greenaway with the Pattern Master. That was a basis for design for the longest time, and then you go on and on and on.
Yeah, well,
Charles and I are still going by that.
Is that there's not enough people flying control line. If Tryan's airplane came out 30 years ago and everything was where it was at, and you had like our club that had 75, 80 members in it, it would get a lot more traction than our club now that has 5 members in it.
Yeah.
Well, the thing,
and all 5 members are over set. Besides me and Samantha, everybody's over 70 years old.
The thing with trans.
Hey, wait a minute. I'm not over 70.
You mean you're not 70? I thought you were 70.
No,
I'm a baby here.
The thing with trans design is, as long as BOM, it doesn't apply so much in the Pampa classes back in the East, but out here throughout the West and many contests, the BOM is part. You have your appearance points, even in intermediate and advanced, expert, and as long as that happens, as fine as trans airplane is, people are not going to be able to compete with it in many parts of the country because they're throwing away, up to 25 points or 20 points. In the Nats in open, you don't find many sharks there. You find Orestes, but he built his. That's what, and I think the BOM should stay for open class. I think it's a modeling contest. It's not it's a total modeling from building it.
Yeah, not just flying.
Right. But it's beginner, intermediate, advanced, and expert. It can be and probably should be a flying contest. And
John.
Yeah. Let me finish.
It goes back to the way things used to be. Trans has got a great design. It doesn't necessarily mean that everybody, just like you used to have, your magazine articles on how you build the airplane, and so Gene Schaefer's or Bob Hunt's Genesis was built with a foam wing and for competition and all these exotic construction methodologies back in the day. But when you turned around and you looked at the magazine article, they didn't say, "Oh, you have to go out and get your foam wing built by this one or your fuselage built by that one." They turned around and how it took a design and made it, distilled it to a point where anybody can build it with materials that they had. If you wanted to do it in balsa wood, you could. If you wanted to do it the way Tran does it in all composites, obviously you've got that point as well. If we can turn around and Tran wants to put a design out there with an electric design out there that's novel and new, and not necessarily with the construction requirements that he is employing with take apart this or take apart that and whatever. Hey, why not? I mean, that's the way it was done in the past.
What it is, though, besides the airplane being carbon fiber, if you took that all away, you can still do what Trian's doing. You can make the nose longer. You can put the bigger motor in it, the smaller battery. You can build the tail so long for the pressure when the air hits it, what it does to it. You can build all that in to a balsa airplane. The thinner wing. If you look at Bob Hunt's new airplane, that has a wing about the same thickness as Trian's. I don't know how long the tail will be, but all that stuff you can do to try and come up with. Yeah, you can't have a solid carbon fiber airplane like him, but you can take all the stuff he's learned and build these airplanes and put it into a balsa airplane.
Exactly. That's
a good point.
Maybe that's the next step.
Right. So it's the thinking on it, you know. It's like the Shark out. The Shark is a good airplane. There's no doubt about it. It flies well and stuff like that. I think Trian's taking it to a little different level.
Definitely.
Thinking, but it's for people to try it, you know, and it's like that new airplane that I'm building. It has a thinner wing. It has a longer nose. Stuff is being changed on it. Samantha's new airplane was a Staris that has a lot longer nose, longer tail, trying to, you know, it's basically a modified Staris. We're trying, but it didn't have the thinner wing. And that's the one, you know, but it isn't where it's at right now. I wish, you know, that part I would have changed. But yeah, you can do the stuff Trian's doing, but he's figuring it out. It's just putting his numbers and all that stuff to use. I mean, we can have Bob Hunt cut a thin wing like Trian's airplane. He doesn't have to cut foam that thick. He can cut it down that thick. You know, you can make your ribs that big, just like I did.
3 inches, baby.
The point I was trying to finish making here.
Or you can use or you can definitely use one of those geodesic built-up constructions as well.
Right.
Let John finish his point. He got interrupted by Peter a while ago, and he never had a chance to finish.
I'm sorry.
The point I was trying to make was, and I appreciate the conversation afterwards. Good points. You made some good points, Steve, Pete. But the point I was trying to make was, we may want to look at the structure of beginner, intermediate, advanced, and expert. We need to look at. We may want to look and say, okay, parts of the country are running without BOM, and other parts are. Maybe we need to look at it and say we need to make it all the same. In other words, either they're all non-BOM or they are all BOM. The idea of having a national organization like that was to make sure all the rules are all the same throughout the whole country.
Well, you know,
I'm in favor.
I talked to Dennis about this in the BOM, and he likes the idea. I run it by other people, and they don't. I said, you have your concourse winner, and that's so many points. You have the contest where you fly. That's so many points. You add the two together, and that's the Walker Cup winner.
But that's only
the overall winner. Then it is a full. You can either go for the building, you can go for the flying, or you can go for both.
When you're flying open at the nets, BOM should be part of it because it's not just a flying contest; it's a modeling contest, and it starts with the building, the finishing, and the flying. There's
right, and that would win you the Walker Cup.
That's right. But in the skill classes, beginner, intermediate, advanced, and expert, I myself don't see why we shouldn't consider just not having the BOM throughout the country on the skill classes.
Yeah.
Maintain them in the open, junior, senior, and open at the nationals, because that's what the nationals picks the national champion. Okay, and the national champions for the entire since this control has been around, the nationals have always been a modeling contest. That's why we've had.
Yeah, but you can modify it to be a modeling contest by doing what I said. You have a concourse winner, whoever's the best builder. Then
But you don't have that to the flight.
Whoever's the best flyer, and who's ever the best in both becomes the best modeler. Because
that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing
against David Fitzgerald 5 times. What do you think her chances are winning the Walker Cup them 5 times? Why did they even have the Walker Cup? Nobody's won the Walker Cup besides the Open winner since 1969. It's to go up there and fly. Samantha flew it. It meant nothing. She wasn't going to beat David Fitzgerald unless he crashed his airplane on the first flight. Otherwise, once he put in one flight, she couldn't beat him. He didn't fly the other ones. He didn't have to fly the other ones because they knew when she's flying a 400-point flight in junior that she's somehow going to come up with a 580-point flight or something.
Well,
it was crazy. It was a waste of time. She flew a flight. He flew a flight. It's like, let's just go home. I want to go home.
Yeah.
She with a great flight.
Won the nationals as a senior. He beat them all as a senior. It doesn't happen often, but it has happened. But quite frankly,
1969, 50 years, John. And he won it with the old appearance points where it was like 40 points.
That's right.
And he got points for being original and stuff like that. They don't even have that anymore. And the juniors could fly up to 21 years of age.
If
they knocked it back to 18.
He was 16 when he won it.
He was 18, he said.
Okay, he was 18. He wasn't 21.
Right. But
Well,
they
can I
had
say
it to where
something?
you had a better chance, but now you got no chance.
Can I say something? If we want to have a unified rule in a country, well, I have an idea. The whole world, except for United States, runs FAI rules. The whole world.
Don't do it.
Why do we need to be different?
Don't do it.
Just do FAI everywhere and then call it a day, you know?
Well,
and that's it.
FAI has problems.
FAI sucks.
It's got a basically good idea to begin with, but administration of it has kind of sucked, and it's gotten a little worse. It's gotten a little worse, and until they can straighten it out, it's not very appealing. The way the whole world flies FAI, but it began and was invented here in the United States as open.
I agree. I don't like FAI rules.
Well, I like
we've got them here.
the concept that there's no builder of the model, but again, I go back to the open contests and that's I firmly believe builder of the model should be there. Heck, I could even go some further and say you should get more points like the originality points were designed for the guys that designed their own airplanes.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah,
That's a good idea. Well, here in New Zealand, we've got nine builders the model.
Yeah, Tryon likes that. He scored in
Bring
bunch.
them in.
Yeah, I wanted
Look
to
at Tryon.
about
Look at Tryon. He's going crazy over there.
Yeah, I wanted to say something earlier. Tryon's plane is the carbon fiber and all that stuff is great, but what really impresses me is his controllability, the adjustability. he has, that bell crank and all the adjustments and the double push rods going back, to the flap elevator, all that stuff is just so unbelievable that I think its plane flies so good because it's so adjustable.
Most
I know
definitely.
the carbon
And
fiber
it's so accurate.
and all that is all good, but that plane flies good. I mean, that's just and he can make it fly better. It's kind of like, it's just amazing. So I really admire Trian's plane. I think it's for world domination. It's just a matter of time. Like the plane's so far ahead of Trian that he has to catch up to it, and then he'd be dominating the world. And give it enough time. Isn't that right, Trian? World domination.
Well, guys, it's been fun. I'm out of here. I gotta go to bed.
But the other thing is,
Charles, why does Pinky and the Brain jumps into my into my mind now?
Charles, can I ask you a question?
But the other thing is being at the World Championships, all the kids over there had airplanes from big-time flyers that gave them to them.
Hey, Steve.
And they got to fly them for years. They never had to fly a shitty airplane that they built. I mean, Samantha flew more crappy airplanes than, I can imagine. And I understand why she's not all hepped up in flying. I mean, it wasn't until the last year she got a decent flying airplane, and I don't even think that is really a super airplane. Once she flew Trian's airplane, she's like, oh my God. So she went 10 years of flying crap, bad engine runs and, overruns and all this kind of stuff. It makes
Welcome to control line.
Huh?
Welcome to control line. That's what we've all had to do.
Right, but not over there in Europe, not in Canada.
What do you mean not in Canada?
You guys
I've done nothing but that.
You guys fly FAI in Canada.
But I don't have great airplanes. I've had more crap than anybody.
Not more than anybody.
What I'm saying
crap.
is you could. And that's the big difference. That Chinese kid, he had 3 Shark. He started.
What Chinese kid?
He had 3 Sharks that his dad bought him. And I think the first one was used, but from the same time that he started flying and he could fly the full pattern, he had top-notch airplanes. The one came from the Chinese champion or whatever that he got. I mean, they pass these planes down when they get hangar rash and stuff like that, but the kids are still flying really good equipment. And they're not built. They don't have to build it. All they got to worry about is flying.
That's right. That's FAI. That's what FAI is.
Hey, guys.
FAI is a...
Robert, was you trying to get in something, Robert? Go ahead.
Go ahead, Robert.
I was trying to get in to talk to you, Charles. I tuned in about a half hour late, and I'm just wondering if we did a formal toast to Rusty or whatever, like was being talked about on the forum.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do something. We need to do something. I'm for anything.
I gotta shut down here pretty soon.
All right, yeah, so what we're gonna do?
On that note, then, I'd like to propose a toast to the fond memory of one of our best flying buddies, Rusty. May he rest in peace with calm winds and tight lines. To Rusty.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, Rusty.
He's going to be missed. Hey, you guys, I'm going to be closing the program soon, and I was watching part of Saturday's program, and I haven't spoken to Sparky, but he was talking about he wanted this to be a group effort, so anybody else who's interested, get in contact with Sparky. He does require that you have a working understanding knowledge of YouTube. He's not going to teach you how to do it. But it doesn't have to be all on me. I'm not against it. I'm okay with it, but it doesn't have to be that way. So if other people want to help out, we can.
I'd like to help out, Charles, but I'm stretched so thin. I don't know if I can work that in or not.
I'm just throwing it out there. You know, if you're interested, get in touch with Sparky.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be, you know, just one. I mean, like what Rusty did was fantastic. He was a one-man show.
Absolutely.
He ran it the whole time for like, I think he did 250 shows.
Wow.
Something like that. We don't have
That's
to do that again. Yeah. And I don't mind doing this. I actually enjoy it. But I don't feel it's like my thing. You know, I mean, as far as it has to be my thing. I can share the stage with any of you because I think what makes our program so good is the interaction between all of us, and it doesn't really matter who's hosting. I mean,
if you want, Charles, if you need help, you know, and you want to get a backup or whatever, if you want to talk me through it one night on the phone and let me learn how to do it, I'm willing to help out, you know, when I can, and you know, if other people can't, you know, I can't see why we can't have 3 or 4 guys, you know, to
I think Peter said he wanted to help out too, and that's awesome.
Yeah, let's let's do that.
I heard Sparky's video when he was at John's at Saturday, and he mentioned my name as well. Maybe he's thinking I could come in and do the Southern Hemisphere or do another time outside the normal times. I'm happy to do that if that's what he's thinking. So
I got it going again. All right, got it going.
I was gonna say, if you're gonna, you know, everybody's getting up anyway. If you want to stop the live stream,
Yeah, I mean, you guys can continue on, obviously, and continue to talk. We'll just stop streaming. Let me close this out. I saw like 21 viewers at one point in time.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Of course, we went into talking about electronics. Then it started failing. I mean, it's like people were bailing out. Went down to 12 when you went to electric, you know. And then the guys on the chat, they just stopped. They just like, they wasn't going to argue with you guys about electric. So they were. I had texted them saying, "What's up? What happened?" And they go, "We're not going to argue with the electric." So.
I'm the only guy who does that.
But anyways, thank you everybody for on the YouTube side. I saw a few new people. I think I don't even know how to say your name. Was it?
Jeff just came in. Hey Jeff.
Hey Jeff. People.
Hey Jeff.
What's going on, man?
Hang on, I'm still trying to close the show out. We had some guests, some new guys. I can't say his name. Vogue, I guess it was. There's a Tom. There was I think a Tim out there. So thank you for the new guys coming in on the chat. And we had a great program in my opinion. I think it was pretty much from beginning to now. I mean, it's been a great conversation for like 3 hours. So it's awesome. So anyways, I'm gonna end the stream, but you guys can continue to talk and talk about electronics if you want. And,
don't jump off too soon, Charles.
Okay, I'll stay on. All right, see you Friday, and then hopefully we'll see you again next Monday. So good night, y'all. I'll cut the stream now.
Good night, Charles.
Okay. Well, good night, Charles.
No, Charles staying.